So it is time for this question that we ask every campaign. Who in the party does your character trust the most?
Has to be in the party?
Yes.
I'm assuming not counting animal companions.
Not counting animal companions.
Damn it.
Every time. Every time I ask that question, they're like, it's the yak.
Gogmert trusts Gogmert the most.
Yeah, can't be yourself either.
Fix would say Lucilla.
And what did you say, Gareth?
Lucilla.
I'm gonna go with
I asked you, someone spoke up. So 2 for Lucilla so far. She's winning the race here.
Just to be clear, the wording it's trust, right?
Yes.
Emanuele, because I think he's too stupid to trick anyone.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I mean, yeah, that works.
Emanuele's going to go with Ephixa because he knows her religion would never let her deceive or mislead anyone.
Nope.
You do not know about Saren Ray worship.
Well, especially in the context that, the practical joke that has been going on for the past...
That is ongoing.
3 episodes.
And then we're just waiting on Lucilla. Who does she trust the most?
Did you not hear me?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, I said Ris'sh.
Okay.
Yeah, if you jointly play a practical joke with someone else, you can no longer trust that person.
I don't know, Fix trusts Lucilla.
Okay. So that's everyone. And
it's one of those things you're asking me who's the most. It's not that I distrust Ephixa. Yeah. It's just like, I feel like Rish's motivations are the most linear.
Mm-hmm. Acquire power? ? Profit.
Off topic, I also had this thought the other day that we've been through like 6 sessions in this game, and it's been 2 days. We've been through like 6 sessions in the dwarf game, and it's been like 2 months.
Yep. Just wait until we get kingdom building in the dwarf game, when I'm gonna break up kingdom building into 4 turns, each one being a season. So we're gonna get like 4 years in a session.
Nice.
And so bringing it back into the game, and you all have just finally opened up this one room. I assume you want me to give you the flavor text again to kind of get back into the state of it.
Refresh our memories.
Yep. So this room looks to have once been some sort of arcane workshop. Although it now lies in ruins, a row of soggy books sit on the northern end of the workbench along the western wall. At the other end of the workbench, what looks like 3 iron bird cages, each one containing a dead, diseased rat. To the east, 2 stained glass windows loom. The northern window depicts a thin man with gaunt features drinking a foul-looking brew of green fluid, while the southern one shows the same man but in an advanced state of decay, as if he had been dead for several weeks. His arms raised and head thrown back in triumph. His rotting body turns to smoke and spirals into a 7-sided box.
Mm-hmm.
That's the flavor text, and that's so far all you've seen, as you're all kind of just waiting at the doorway in a line. Conga.
Yep. Just for clarification, you said it was spiraling away into a what kind of box?
7-sided box.
So it's a 7-sided box. I do not believe, by definition, that is a box.
I was going to say the same thing.
Box can have as many sides as it wants.
I think he means container.
It's not a square, it's a box, meaning it contains something.
That's a container.
Well,
it can still be considered a box.
Yeah. Box doesn't have
I think you might be thinking cube. Or
I also think we had this discussion
last
I'm
pretty sure it can still be considered a box.
1 second. Yeah. Okay.
The definition.
You would call this shape I just drew in front of Fix a box, right?
I have not seen.
Well, Loki can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The definition that I just looked up says a container with a flat base and size, typically square or rectangular, and having a lid.
Is the shape I just drew below that a box?
And it meets the flat base and sides.
Fuck you.
This is kind of like the box I'm talking about, by the way.
Have you seen how they do D2s?
Look, I'm okay with witches and ghouls, but a 7-sided box is where I draw the line.
Yeah. See, the thing I linked Gombo in Skype, that is considered a box, and it has 7 sides. So, stuff it.
No,
Yes,
9.
sides. Yeah, I mean, top and bottom counts.
Yeah, top and bottom. That means the person who made it is wrong and can't count.
Is it a hexagonal box?
This is gonna mess with me all day.
Okay, Gumbo, you get a package from Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter its shape, you're gonna call it a box. That it
If
comes
it's a
in.
rectangle, it's still called a box.
Yeah, but
It's
it
a
still has
tube.
6 sides.
Yeah, if it's a tube, it's considered a box too.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you got like Amazon just got their new funky boxes in, okay, and they have 7 sides, you're gonna call that a box.
Well, couldn't
You're not gonna go,
think of-
oh, I've got my 7-sided container from Amazon.
Okay, when Amazon sends you something in one of those those little envelopes that they have, is that a box?
No, that's an envelope because it doesn't
That's a
have a flat
package.
bottom, Gombo.
Right, because it's got 2 fucking sides.
No,
Introducing
you're
the new
right but for the
Amazon
wrong
bogies.
reason.
Just open the single side of our box and have all your deliveries instantly.
I'll laugh if this is the most viewed episode of our YouTube channel. Just
I
the
gotta
sheer
say,
dialogue of
I
boxes.
never expected to touch a nerve when describing a 7-sided box.
Gombo, do not try and bend the spoon. That is impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. There is no spoon or box.
Anyway,
Anyways,
7-sided
let's
box.
actually play the game now.
Stained
I'm
glass.
calm. Okay, moving on. I advance into the room.
Seppuku.
Lucilla.
Hmm?
As you enter the room,
Yes.
you begin to like everything you begin to see is like a flash in your mind again. It's another one of those. But this one, rather than seeing actual people, it's like you're seeing a cartoon being painted and drawn in stained glass, depicting what's happening in the past.
Mhm.
To kind of set the scene of how it's viewed in your mind. You see this man that does bear a very striking resemblance to Aldern that you had met before, though definitely a different person, as you know this in your mind as a man known as Vorel Foxglove. You see him when he going through vision. You see visions of him chronicling his stages of becoming a lich, from researching the work of previous liches, to gathering components for the lich's transformation, to building his phylactery, finally culminating in the vision of Vorel taking his potion and doubling over in agony as his body begins to rot away. As you're experiencing these, like from an outsider kind of looking in mindset, as you're experiencing this, it becomes extremely clear what the true nature of these windows and the manor were, as it was basically him being prideful of his work and basically showcasing what he was doing as he was building his manor. But then you're also as soon as you see all this, you begin to feel a blinding shame of what somebody would do to themselves, what a loved one would do to themselves, followed by a burning rage that you were somehow stopped before your ritual had occurred. I need you to make me a will save.
Alright. It's my second best save. Hey, that's what I
Yeah.
like to see.
You resist the urge to try to run and grab your child to escape the house, as you realize, wait, I'm way too young to have a child. But as you kind of look over, you notice subtle movements of the stained glass, as if the man depicted in the stained glass was staring at you with a sneer.
Yeah, I'm rocked by the vision a little bit. Almost reflexively reaches out to the cage to steady myself, but then realize, yep, rat's in there, bad idea.
Nothing else seems to happen to anyone else. It doesn't even happen long enough for anyone to really notice, other than Lucilla. You kind of just stiffen up a bit. But yeah.
Definitely lab.
Oh, not getting used to that anytime soon.
Is wrong? What?
Had another one of those flashes,
Yeah.
like area memory this time. It was sorry, out of character. It was Laurel Foxglove.
Vorel, Vorel.
Okay, thank you. I was close.
Yeah.
You weren't feel compelled to try to jump out one of these windows, were you?
No. Under control. Yeah. One of the previous owners of this manor, Vorel Foxglove. He was using this lab to make himself a lich. Don't think it completely succeeded, though.
Mm.
I imagine, well, because the image or the stained glass depicts that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'd say, well, he must have survived it, or somebody in the know must have survived it, because who else would do this?
Maybe aspirational?
No, I think because this is not recent. This has been a while ago. I think he got stuck, kind of like Lucilla, kind of like makes vague hand gestures, trying to like materialize the words in between states. Would be my guess.
As in, like, the house is his phylactery? Because I don't think objects like this large could be a phylactery.
Out of character, Richard, you said made the phylactery. Did I see what that was in the vision?
Yeah, it was a 7-sided box or container to amend your sensibilities.
Yep. No, it was okay, sorry.
I was just gonna. You can roll an Arcana. Also, if anyone wants to roll a Nobility when you hear the name Vorel.
Yeah, I'll roll an Arcana because I feel like that's the thing that Lucilla would latch onto first.
Is something hurt Melgak when break through wall, wasn't that? Yes.
15 Arcana.
So in terms of Arcana, you don't really know just off the top of your head why what kind of like because you're trying to figure out about the whole house and the lich being stuck in between kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just theorizing because, like, out of character, I know that a failed lich is a demi-lich, but I don't think Lucilla would know that.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't really get that kind of picture, and you don't really know exactly what went down, but you would know, though, with a 15, if a lich came about in this area, like a successful lich, somebody would have heard about it, and the rumor would have gotten around quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Especially considering picking up on that with the nobility, Ephixa and Emanuele both. Vorel Foxglove was a well-known noble in Magnamar. This is like 2 generations removed from Aldern. So Aldern's great-grandfather is what it's supposed to be. I might have said one last generation. Anyway, it was supposed to be Aldern's great-grandfather. But something happened when that in the past where the family supposedly died of illness, and then the house was kind of condemned before Aldern's father came to try to rebuild it, and then him and his wife died in a fire. And then Aldern came back recently to try to rebuild it again.
Well, I see a pattern here. She would kind of relay. She would relay the whole lineage and recurring fates of the family.
Yeah, I remember reading about that in the library. I don't think Vorel became a lich. A lich is kind of a big deal. It's not something that flies unnoticed in a local area like this.
I mean, the house is pretty much notorious for being a place of ill omen. So,
yeah. still don't think we're dealing with a full lich, though. Something not good.
I hope not, but either way, this place is definitely pointing at necromantic and evil spirits. So the lich won't be entirely out of the question, but yeah, I think there is some note to if a lich was literally just up the road, we'd probably have a lot more problems than Sandpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you see in this room, other than those stained glass, which they actually looked at, like looking through them, you can kind of see how this part of the building kind of overhangs the cliffside and looking down right into the Gulf. Like this is like a carved down extension outside of the walls of the cliffside to make it like an overlook. In addition to that, you also see the workstation, the piles of notes and books that Lucilla's nearby, a door next to Gogmert, and like I said, 3 cages with dead, diseased-looking rats in them.
Door next to Gogmert. I'm sorry, guys. I have to go take a bio really quick.
How dare?
Does it look to be the
My
same
bad.
kind of diseased rat as what swarmed out earlier? Or
Roll a perception.
making me open my character sheet?
Yep. This is the test. See who's ready. You failed.
You're struck by lightning and die.
Yay!
21. Yeah, these definitely look a lot like the rats that you fought that were very diseased. They're all they're coated with that weird fungus that kind of just permeates this whole house. You do see some lettering underneath a symbol that's on one of the cages, but you can't quite make it out without having to examine it closely.
Not really want to get closer to disease rats. But I'll point out the lettering. And come over and see if there's anything interesting in the pile of notes.
Roll me either an Arcana or a Religion.
Yeah, let's choose between a 4 and a 13. I think I'll go with the 4.
31, yeah. So yeah, you see quite a bit of books detailing necromancy and other versions of undeath. It's very hard to get too much out of these, as most of them are either worm-eaten or crumbling, so that it's hard to do much investigation on them. It is easy to quickly realize that these are all guides on how to transform from mortal into a lich. Some of them are rumored books. Some of them are very ancient. If they were actually recoverable, which they are not, would be worth quite a bit of money to select individuals. What probably would interest you the most, though, is you see when you're flipping through them, one of the books has a false cover with a hollowed out center. Inside is a scroll. Inside is a scroll of you have read magic, right?
Yes.
It is a scroll of Sentry Skull. It turns a severed head into a sentry. You can affix it to a pole, spear, whatever, and it can look into the directions as. It's basically a lookout that you use a severed head for.
Interesting. This could mean if he's able to contact Skull, already knows we are here. But then again, he's possible hole that Melgak made upstairs.
You haven't exactly been the quietest. I think stealth kind of went out the window a while ago.
Yes. Looking around the room for any sort of skull.
Roll perception.
Probably a lot of skulls. Yeah. At least 3 rat skulls over there.
It doesn't look like there's any skulls looking at you, and the rats are very dead.
Getting all my good rolls out early so that when combat happens, we all die.
Mm-hmm.
On the plus side, you're a caster, so you don't have to roll much anyway. What's y'all doing?
Gonna examine this door over here, see if it's locked, see if it's trapped, all that jazz.
This one, as opposed to the iron door that you had to get through to get into this room, this one is just another wooden door. It is iron banded, but it does seem to be unlocked.
I'm just gonna give a roll for traps. Not that I don't trust you, but
I mean, I wouldn't tell you if there was a trap anyway, since you didn't roll.
Right.
But looking at it, it does indeed look like there is no traps.
give it a little push.
Swings wide open
Gonna poke my
into another door.
my ancient enemy. Tiny little door-to-door hallways.
Is there a fucking fire sale on doors somewhere?
When you're so wealthy, you could afford all the doors.
In this world, multiple doors is a sign of wealth. That's why the goblins at Thistletop wanted to emulate it so bad.
There were so many doors.
As I'm going by, I'll take a cursory look at what the lettering was on these cages. It's
I will
probably
say,
just
though,
names.
a 10-foot hallway essentially isn't that small in real life.
No, it's really not. It's a major wastage of square footage.
Yep. Ris'sh, looking at the cages you poke by, it looks like a symbol of a small pig with a mouthful of lockpicks. Peering at the keyhole is essentially what the sign is. Underneath this pig is a guild sign that says Pugs Contraptions Magnamar. I'll just put it here so you can see what I said.
Pugs. The pug smugglers. Puglers.
Not the Puglers.
The dreaded Puglers.
I can't take credit for that. That was from a D&D podcast where there was space, and the GM was like, so what is your guys' criminal organization? They're like, we smuggle pugs from planet to planet. We're Puglers. And he goes, okay, it's going to be one of those campaigns. I see. Anywho, I'm going to give another roll just in case for this door.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Definitely no traps.
All right. Bring it open. Dude, so much square footage just boom, gone. Don't tell me. Okay.
More doors? Are we simply walking into more doors?
A corridor of Smordor?
I mean, the only thing that's a waste of more doors is a spiraling hallway.
So,
Well,
Lucilla, as you enter this area, piles of broken stone, dirt, and a few ruined pickaxes line the edges of this room. The floor in the middle of the room has been torn up to reveal an ancient set of stone spiral stairs, obviously of a much older construction than the surrounding basement, that wind deep into the bedrock below. A foul stink like that of rotten meat wafts up on a cold breeze from the darkness.
We say are the odds that this links to the tunnels underneath Sandpoint.
Yeah, I snatch up my Iona stone that's been circling around me, so I can hold it over to the stairway. I'm not sure if it's something I can do, but it sounds like it's something I can do.
Well.
Well, considering where we are, considering this is Visaria, if I was betting, I would say this is Thessalonian down here. So you're probably not far off, Fix.
Ephixa, roll me a perception real quick. Everyone?
Fix, get your hand off your eyes.
It looks so deep, I'm afraid to look down.
Just idle curiosity. Would I say this is roughly over where that spiral staircase floor carving was in the floor above? Aha!
So it's a little peek behind the curtain. If the Revenant lady had been able to get through you guys, she would have ran down there and tore up the floorboards to get down there. And you could have followed her down to get right into this area. So there was multiple options. You didn't have to find a key.
Yeah. We just had to let the very dangerous lady bypass us through an extremely narrow hallway.
Yep. Didn't say it was a good idea. I just said it was an idea.
Our mangled remains would have been able to come down this way.
Who knows? You might have come back as undead if you died in this house.
I release the stone so that way it goes back to floating above my head. Well then, only one way to go.
Well, I'm glad I went to the page before I brought you over, because for some reason it disabled all of my dynamic lighting on the next floor.
Nice.
You want to refresh?
I'm just adding it real quick before I move you guys over.
Intermission.
It won't take me long. It's literally just a couple check marks I have to.
Only 17 doors on the next story.
Just
So
the
I
great-
imagine. Are you going down, or are you going to wait for anything?
I mean, I think we should go down. I think Fix is leading the way, but I'm
Yeah.
right behind her.
Okay. Any last minute things you need to do before you go down?
Wills and testaments?
I mean, when you say it like that, my gut instinct is like all the spells, but realistically, in character, Lucilla will just stay how it is. So yeah.
Yeah, most of my spells I'm saving for whatever looks bossy.
Blow my nose and put away my handkerchief. It's going to be a rough one.
Okay, so
I mean, looking at my spells, Bark Skin is 10 minutes per level, but that would go if something happens where we had to like wait down there or something. That would just be a wasted spell.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you begin to head down there. As you make your way down, it goes down about.
Getting some heavy
hold
static
on.
from someone. I think it's Michael.
Let me see if I can fix that.
Actually, Ephixa, you're reading the charge?
Yeah.
Roll me another perception.
You guys are taking all the good rolls. Stop it.
Okay. As you begin to go down the stairs, you experience visions of Aldern, sweaty, filthy, wild-eyed, digging away at the stone floor of this room with a pickaxe. With each swing, he grunts out 2 words, "For you." And you know that Aldern is speaking to you through this vision somehow. As the vision ends, Aldern breaks through into this room beyond, and hordes of shrieking ghouls rise up to pull him into the darkness below before they turn the eyes to you. As the ghouls reach out, I need you to make me a will save. 21. So you're able to shrug off this sensation as you see these ghouls begin to grab and bite and tear at you. You realize this is all in your mind, and you're able to avoid taking the repercussions of this.
She'd probably still take a few steps back and bump into Lucilla, just kind of growing pale by the vision.
Steady now.
Really quick, is
Alright.
that better? You guys still hear static?
I was
Yeah.
fine. I hear a little bit of static, but
It's a little bit's fine. It's just normal mic
Yeah.
pickup for me.
But
I mean,
Fix will say,
None of us are in studio quality setups with like the bumps on the walls and everything.
right.
I mean, assume not. I don't know Cope's budget.
It probably all goes to alcohol, so.
I'm in a van down by the river.
Yeah, Fix will say, I had one of those visions this time of Aldern digging this, saying it was for me. At least I assumed it was for me. It seems like all of this is for me. From spending my entire life in the church and not really doing the dating thing, it went from like 0 to 1,000 real quickly.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
This level of obsession isn't normal, right? I mean, obviously it's not healthy.
No,
but it's, okay.
no. Like being creeped on, yeah, but not like
ghoul level.
Just vaguely gestures around this.
Yeah, this is expert level creepy. I feel like this is lifestyle creepy.
I mean, lifestyles of the rich and famous, you know.
I mean, this is really what you get for letting people take snippets of your hair. That's just weird. That's just kind of telegraphing what's going to happen. I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, wait. So, you think that was a slippery slope that led to this?
Not exactly. I'm just letting you know what type of environment you're in.
Sounds like Lucilla's victim blaming.
No. I'm just saying that if you live in a culture where the way to greet each other is to stab each other in the shoulder, don't surprise when someone goes for your eye eventually, is all I'm going to say. Be prepared.
Anyway, you make your way down now. The stairs wind downward, going about 80 feet deep, before the stairs end in a limestone cavern. The walls drip with moisture, and black and dark blue mold grows in spiraling, tangled patterns on the floor, ceilings, and walls. Rubble and broken bones clutter the floor, and a rhythmic sound, like breathing of some immense creature, echoes through the cave. From 3 tunnels, one to the north and 2 to the west. Of the 2 western tunnels, the southernmost one seems to be a relatively new creation. And I will reveal the area as, in addition to that, you see, as you did not stealth, a ghoul in the distance. I'll shift click you over here. If it did it, I don't know.
There we go.
And yeah, Ephixa, you see the ghoul straight away.
I mean, to be fair, I have a light over my head. I don't know how much good stealth would have done us.
Fair enough, but I'm just telling you now.
Yeah.
So starting off the combat, we'll get the initiative going. So let's see. Fix the celebration. So we just need a manual's initiative on there. Okay. Bring it down to the descending order. Ephixa. You see one ghoul, but you do hear the sounds of more as you go down. You just see him turn. Its long, like 2-foot long tongue kind of wafts out and like.
Watch our flank cell take point. She'll start edging forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then with her action, use her good blessing and cause her sword to illuminate with radiant light.
Oh yeah, that actually lights up a certain amount of space. So you just like, that's helpful for me because then I can see more.
So you have light going how far?
Let me check it real quick.
Also, I was going to tell you earlier, but you failed the perception check. Your bird is not with you right now for some reason.
Oh. Shit. That's
So
unsettling.
keep that in mind.
It flew the coop.
Huzzah!
That's the best I could come up with. I'm sorry, guys. That's
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
listen. I'm coming to you hat in hand. I'm sorry. That's not my best pun work. I'll improve in the future.
It doesn't say it gives a light, just as it glows in a light, so it probably doesn't give off. Like you probably see the
doesn't give
sword
off that much
moving,
light.
but like you probably spot the sword in the distance, but it probably doesn't cast enough light to see what it's going at.
We'll say it illuminates your space for
Okay, that works.
effect. And that's all you're doing?
Yes.
Okay. Ghoul number 1. It's going to step up to here. It's going to take a swing at you. Actually, it's going to try to bite you. And miss terribly.
Yep.
It just like starts gnawing on your shield, but with no effect. Lucilla.
I probably got an angle on him from there with my whip.
Yeah,
So I will trip him.
go for it.
That will be CMB. Make sure everything's yes. All right. Yes. Shazam. No. I do
I'm
not
sorry to
assume,
say that does not work.
I do not assume 10 does it, so.
Nope.
Nope. I tried.
But what about the phase of the moon bonus?
I don't think that's.
It's not a thing. It's a
darn.
joke about how we always
So
forget our
as
modifiers.
Turning the corner is another ghoul that imposes its position between you and Ephixa.
Darts.
And it's going to bite at you.
Yeah, I thought she pushed up a little too far.
That'll miss, though.
Yep.
I'm a dexterous one.
Indeed. And it is Ris'sh's turn.
Listen, I was just going to try to back up Fix it. Don't be like.
Yeah, I was gonna do it against that one, but I guess I'll just disrupt undead on that one. Yeah.
That'll miss. Oh, wait, no, touch. That will hit.
I was just yelling because fucking not minimum damage.
And you're doing the one that's between the two?
Yes.
I know, every time you use this, it seems to be like 1 damage.
Yeah, it is a cantrip.
Yeah.
But hey.
Emanuele.
All right, Emanuele is going to command Juan he's going to point up this tunnel, and he's going to say flank.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to do some tests behind the scene, but I can't see where he's going, so I don't know what he's going to run into or come out to.
Turns out that tunnel just leads all the way back to town.
He really flanked.
3 days later, we never saw it coming.
1 second.
But he has 15 more movement if you want him to keep moving along that upward tunnel.
Okay, let's see.
Alternative possibility, he's going to aggro the boss.
So 15 more feet of movement.
Yeah, and I guess
it goes. I imagine Juan just goes the most direct path, correct?
Yeah, and I guess he could double move.
I need a fortitude save.
A Juan fart.
He's also triggering all the
I actually need
traps.
2 of them.
Okay.
Good news is this only happens to him 1 time. Bad news is it continues per round. Roll me a 1d3. Juan takes 3 constitution damage.
Juan, that'll add to his already -2 con.
With my been knitting in the snakes.
And that's just a single movement, or is that double movement?
He's got 40 more feet to move if he can go double. If there's not enemies back there.
Yep. He can go right all the way up. Everyone who sees him, go ahead and roll me a perception.
26.
19 for Ephixa.
Okay. So the 2 of you looking at him, he is covered in what looks like almost like a yellow dust.
It's not good.
If you wish to know what this is, I would require either a survival or a nature check.
Shabam.
This is known as yellow mold.
Knew it. Oh, that's not good.
Emanuele, your snake has mold all over it.
Well,
Yeah,
watch
that's-
it when we get back to town.
Yeah, but that's the mold that makes zombies.
What? And with that, Emanuele takes a shot with his bow at that zombie.
I assume. I just remember that from skimming the beast.
Which one are you hitting?
The one in front of Lucilla.
You ping it, and it is staggered at 0.
When do you get 2 attacks?
Wait, actually, do undead just die at 0, or do they?
Yeah, they just die.
They
at
just,
0.
they just
Okay, so I almost forgot about that. So yeah, he's just dead.
You get 2 attacks at Babs 6, right?
Yes,
Okay.
as long as you don't move or take a movement action.
I got a while. All right. And then movement action, he's going to give. What is your name?
Our names are listed on the bottom.
Combat advice to Ephixa. for a +2 to her next attack.
Ephixa, you can vaguely make out a ghoul running away.
We've got a runner.
And Gogmert.
Alright. Gogmert will. There's a ghoul up there that Ephixa is still fighting. We will come up here, and then I'll cast Bark Skin on myself. And that, let's see, the cats, they can go further. So let's see, 40 brings them there. And then, you said we have a runner, but I don't really know where they are, so...
Yeah, you can't really see them or where they ran to.
I'll bring the cat over there. Actually, if I came up at charging, does charging all have to be in a straight line?
I believe so.
Or is it just the squares? I don't remember.
I think it has to be a direct path.
It can be a diagonal, but I think it has to be a straight line.
Got it. Because I remember in some games that we played, you would be able to walk up, and then you only had to charge for a certain amount of space.
That was Dark Heresy, where you only had to charge the last 3 spaces.
Yeah. Okay. Then he will just stand there, and that doesn't provide flanking, but Emanuele is already with 1. So I'll be able to attack him next round. Let's bring up also Skirmishaw, but I won't bring him back up as far. We'll have him right there. Okay.
Ephixa.
Is Fix flanking with us or no?
I will say yes, just because he kind of boxes in there. He can't really get out.
Okay. Alright, so 2-weapon fighting against him. First attack is at a +2. I'm going to use power attack. And these will have an additional 1d6 to this weapon.
Oof. Yeah, that crits, and it just destroys this ghoul as you just slice its head off cleanly.
I'm getting
As
better
you
at
just bring up
this.
your scimitar, just with the power of God and anime on your side, you slice its head clean off.
Alright, the other one. Since that was my first attack, I use my move action.
You can just revert the rest into a move action. I'm not going to hold people to full attacks if you kill something after the first one.
And she's off.
Clear up here so far. Alright. That's my move. Or my turn.
Okay. So... hold on 1 second, as I have Gem Layer stuff to deal with.
Hark now.
You see rounding the corner and coming towards you, a ghoul.
Is it a ghoulish ghoul?
That does ghouly things, yes. As well as another ghoul.
And the ghoul says, "Hey, smooth skin."
Alright.
It's a material ghoul, you say?
Yeah, living in a material world.
You know, as opposed to the phantasmal ghouls that tried to grab her on the stairs.
Ghouls just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
No, that would be because it's -2 for every additional range increment you take, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably not worth it. You know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm gonna throw my dagger at this one. It's got a range increment of 10, so that would be a -4 total. So I'll just roll it normal style, and then we could just deduct it from the roll.
Fair enough.
Yeah. About what I expected.
-4, you said?
Because it's
that'll miss.
roughly 30 feet. Well, at
It
least
does barely miss, though.
Yeah, well, that's good. And then it zips back to my hand.
On the next turn of ghouls, you see another 2 run the corner. Lucilla, since you're in range, I want you to roll me a perception check.
All right. 29.
29.
At least I'm good at what I'm good at.
So we're gonna have to shoot the monster generator and not the food.
Looking over closely, you see what's a chunk of what looks like stone protruding from the skull of one of these ghouls.
Mhm.
And you remember back in the point where you were being strangled by a scarf?
Uh-huh.
The vision you had of Aldern killing his wife and the man that was sharing some wine with her. The man had been smashed in the head with a
Piece of
what
stone.
looks like a gargoyle-looking statue with one of the wings missing that you had after you come out of it. And you realize this is one and the same wing that the statue is missing currently. So the man he killed has now become one of these ghouls.
Well, I think we found all the previous victims of the manor.
But that is all their movement to get to there.
I'm not sure how that's applicable to us trying not to get murdered by them, but it's a fun fact I feel you all deserve to know.
Mm-hmm.
But you still yelling.
Just echoing terribly throughout these caves. Just some demi-lich reading a book and just cheers just this yelling. Also, out of character, let me guys know if I'm speaking too loudly into the microphone.
Yeah.
I could barely hear you right there, Gombo.
That's what I thought. Okay, good.
I suppose that I will be following along. That's 35, so I might as well double move up. There's a lot of ghouls.
Indeed.
One might say a gaggle.
That's positively ghoulish.
Mm-hmm.
But that will be your double movement, so I believe that's all you can do in your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Emanuele, I need another fortitude save for Juan.
One.
Another 1d3 of constitution damage.
One.
Another 1 point of constitution damage.
Good news, that didn't take away a hit point.
Even better news, he only has 4 more rounds to go of this affection.
Da-da!
Okay, and it is your turn to do as you will.
All right, so Emanuele is going to slide up here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, so he can actually see and say, Juan, come here. Juan steps over and he's going to cast Delay Disease on Juan.
Roll me a nature check. Okay, you cast
It'll
spell.
work. Well, he was already under the effect of a disease that I don't think I've delayed yet,
Yeah, that's fair.
which was already giving him -2 con, so...
The con still damage is still taking effect with the delayed disease. You just don't have to make any more checks against it for a while. Is that Emanuele's turn?
Yes.
Gotcha. Before the ghouls go, I do have, excuse me, a question. I know that all the cats have some ghoul fever going on, and Juan has a couple things going on.
3.
Also, you have to make a caster level check on the delayed disease, by the way.
Oh.
So whatever your caster level is, plus a d20. Does anyone else have any ghoul fever still? I think everyone else removed it, but...
Yeah, I got mine removed.
Juan still has ghoul fever. He has the rat fever, ghoul fever, and now he has the yellow dust.
the yellow mold.
That's one disease snake.
So look, man, he's just a trashy skank. He's getting everything from everybody.
I don't
Okay.
think Gogmert got it, but I think both of the cats do.
Yeah, both of the cats. Actually, I do remember only one of the cats. I think it was Scrimshaw. Got the phage disease from the rats.
Yeah, the other one succeeded
But
to save getting there.
Yeah, and one of them took the effect of. Yeah, well, I'll go over it again, but I know only one of them has the secondary fever.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. As a swift action, Emanuele's going to move Juan's animal focus over to Constitution.
Probably a good, smart choice.
Yeah, good thinking.
Another ghoul around the corner here, but that's the end of their movement there.
We got a spells rush. Now would be the time.
And it is Gogmert.
All the fighting is going on up here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, everything else I got memorized. Defensive.
By the way, how is Juan looking constitution-wise?
He's not bad. He had an 18 to begin with. He's down 6. I just bumped him back up 2, so he's at a 14.
Okay.
He's lost
that's
12
better than I
hit
thought it
points.
was.
He had lost 18 hit points worth of con damage, but I bumped it back up to just 12.
Gotcha.
Okay. I will take my last 5 feet of movement, then I will cast Produce Flame with my wand, bringing me down to 32 charges. And let me just...
I think you can throw a Produce Flame at the same time you cast it, if you wanted to.
Yeah, can you throw it the same round as you cast it?
I'm pretty sure Produce Flame says that you can throw it the same round you produce it. It just takes a minute of it every time you use it, which means one charge of the wand is basically one fireball.
Yeah. That's why I put 6 up here. That's how many attacks I have with it. So yeah, in that case, aim down at this ghoul right here.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna hurl a flame.
I believe you can cast it through the wand though at the minimum level, so you only have one ball per use of the wand.
Yeah, it's cast at the wand or scrolls or potions caster level. That's why I went into the Arcane Savant.
Yeah, so it'll be one use kind of thing. But the good news is you can use it the same round you use the wand. So it's basically like you're using the wand to flick the fireball right in their face.
All right.
Or you could put it on your hands, right, for 1 minute.
Yeah, and you can use it to make a touch attack too. But if he wants to fling it, he can just basically fling it like a firebolt.
Yeah. Fling it this round and then cast it again to attack with next round.
Right. There is the
That will hit.
ranged. And then, so if it's 1 level, then it's just, or the minimum level, then it's just 1d6 plus 1?
Yes.
All right.
More than I do with my weapons. That's respectable.
It's 4
4
damage.
points of damage.
And I will take a charge off, and then I will have the cats go. Do I remember, did they get sick after they bit these things? Is it a bad idea to put them back in?
No, that was specifically the rats.
Okay.
They've bit ghouls before, and it didn't have an affected thing to them.
All right.
I will say, you guys have done enough rolls on ghouls. Their disease is injury only.
Tangletooth moving in, gonna take his bite attack.
That'll hit, and you can make your free trip attempt.
With CMB right here. 21 to trip the ghoul.
That trips them.
And then I will just move the other cat up. So.
But yeah, also, while you're in this point where he's moving them up, Lucilla, you have a clear view of that yellow mold over here now.
35.
And it is filling this little off chamber here.
Yeah, no one go down this way, please.
I'll just use his movement right there. So that's my turn.
Gotcha. Ephixa.
Seeing the ghouls around the corner and just recognizing, upon hearing, the former residents of this, like a rage would kind of come over her, and after a moment, a faint white light will kind of hover around her, and then she'll just release in a burst of channel positive energy that will hit, I think, everybody within 30 feet. So everybody who's...
I thought it was 20 feet for a channel energy.
The cleric says 30 feet.
Okay, then yeah, I was wrong.
So
yeah, I have to make some will saves.
Ooh, good rolls too. So 11 points of damage to the ghouls and 11 healing for everybody who is positively aligned.
You.
Oh, Gogmert.
Not Gogmert.
Well,
No, it's not good. You're still
he's alive.
Living.
Oh, you
But
said
you're not-
positively alive.
Also, I think you have to choose the. Oh, are you healing or are you damaging? Because I think you have to choose both.
I don't
No.
think so.
That's,
No,
Is it just positive energy?
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
Well,
positive
no.
energy.
Cleric specifically says that you can choose to hurt with it if it's positive or heal.
No.
no, because
I think you're thinking about touch.
Yeah.
no,
Are you
see,
sure?
it's a positive energy burst. So if these were
Yes, I know, but
if these were living,
Okay.
then they'd be healed. But
I
since,
have it right here.
Oh.
A good cleric channels positive energy can choose to deal damage to undead creatures or to heal living creatures.
Yeah, so if it says cleric, then
Yeah,
if it
it's
is-
one or the other.
oh, okay.
It really is. one
probably,
of the-
given most of us aren't that damaged. Probably
Yeah,
best
it'll
to-
definitely be going towards damage then.
Although it looks like the will saves came through for them.
Yeah, it's okay because this one dies, and the other one's
DC is 17.
this one. The one in the back takes some high damage, and the other ones take half damage, but that's still a good amount of damage from a channel.
I will say it has been a long time since channel positive energy has been a good thing for me. I'm
I mean,
looking
yeah,
at
you're
you.
playing it. Same here, really.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. Well, I was a vampire since the beginning. For that
Yeah.
entire campaign, it's always been bad. I
Oh,
freaking
that
got
is true.
tired of Nasarima using Cure Light Wounds on us.
Come on,
Yeah.
that only happened like 4 times.
The fun thing with that Oracle build was I was also thinking of going black blooded but life mystery, so that eventually he could turn into
I would like
positive
to
energy
still take a
elemental.
5-foot
Okay.
step forward.
And
Yeah.
I feel like this would cause some kind of thermonuclear reaction as he is harmed by positive energy but has turned himself into pure positive energy.
Right. And that's it. I just want a 5-foot step forward to help bottleneck it a little bit better.
I believe
No
that would be
worries.
called a life hack, Kenneth.
So these two are both going to 5 foot up. One of them is going to use the help action with the other one to try to hit you better.
Mhm.
So let me roll his
Just lays the
assist.
hand on
It will assist. So this will be the +2 for the first attack of the full attack. So bite. So 16 will miss you.
Mhm.
Claw. And claw.
The last one will hit.
For 8 damage. As it manages to just get right under the buckler and scratch against your arm. But I believe you're immune to disease, so you're
Yep.
fine for that. Lucilla.
All right.
Man, if someone had a lightning bolt and didn't care about Lucilla or Ephixa
I
right
know.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, all eyes turn to Ris'sh.
Yep.
And Rich just turns to the camera and winks.
You want stabby help or blocky help?
Blocky help.
All right, I'm gonna use full defense. Boost my AC by 6 and fixes by 3.
Nice.
And also
Shield wall.
Scrimshaws and what's his face down here?
Tangletooth.
Also Tangletooth. Sorry, his name was partially blocked by the shadow. Also get the bonus. It's anyone adjacent to me, really.
No worries. These ghouls. One of them's going to squeeze into this space here. So the attack's going to be at a -4. But its AC is also at a -4. This one's going to aid action to it and will succeed. I should have used that one for the attack.
Ooh.
But here comes the actual attack.
Yes.
I mean, it is squeezing, so that's a,
Yep.
a 4. Does a 4 hit?
Nope. Almost though. Just 20 off.
So that will be the ghoul's turn. Ris'sh, there's a wall of undeath ahead of you.
Yeah. Probably never going to be a better time to use this scroll. So let's go ahead and move up and cast Burning Hands.
Okay. And does a scroll provoke?
Offhand, I don't remember.
I think it still counts as like a normal spell in all regards.
So unless you want to cast defensively, it will provoke.
I can probably manage that at this level. That was what, concentration?
Yeah.
If it hits, it still gets the penalty for squeezing.
21.
Yeah, exactly as the spell does. It's wands that don't provoke.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, 21 will more than succeed, so you're fine.
This is sadly only 3d4 because scroll. 6 fire damage.
6 fire damage, and what's the save?
Reflex, I think.
And that will hit all of them, I believe.
Yes, reflex for half.
So I don't know what the DC of the scroll is, but I'm pretty sure an 11 will fail. Oh yeah, because you're the one that can use your DC, right?
I think the DC is just for whoever's casting it. I really don't know offhand how.
Either way, they're all rolling pretty terribly. So.
Yeah. And
so the one in the back dead.
To put up my additional armor. Yay! Oh yeah.
Over here.
Plus, since I'm right next to Lucilla.
Get +3. I also literally just discovered that total defense master is a thing, which gives an additional 2 to my total defense if I ever want to do that to give everyone +4s and make myself.
I like the fact that Ris'sh and Ephixa right now have the exact same AC. Emanuele.
Teamwork.
All right. He's gonna move up. See a whole lot of stuff going down, and he's gonna cast, because I may never get to cast it again. He's gonna cast Burst of Radiance. Right back here.
A 10-foot radius burst. Yeah.
So before any
No
saves
save.
are needed, it automatically does 5d4 to evil.
Yeah, it rolled the damage already up there.
Oh,
If
okay.
you look under effect, it already has the damage.
Yeah.
Hey, it's actually higher than what you rolled, so that
Yeah.
works.
So, describe how this radiant burst destroys these 3 ghouls.
Emanuele starts to draw his bow and then just kind of points in the area as if he's thrown an arrow, and bright flash of light in front of all of you, and you kind of squint your eyes trying not to close them because you know you're in combat. When you open your eyes again, all the ghouls have just kind of disappeared or melted.
Like when someone gets killed by the spirit bomb in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
You mean that one time?
Or when they get killed by any kind of blast.
Okay, yeah.
You know the effect.
I know the effect.
Good work,
I just
team.
Just wanted to name a specific attack.
I just love dunking on the spirit bomb.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good work,
so-
team. And does anyone know anything about the diseases that are affecting Juan here?
While we're out of combat, 3 more fortitude saves, please.
Oh. He's asking for helps.
Actually, now it's my turn to take a bio. I'll be right back.
If someone would
Can,
like to roll a knowledge nature before one takes all 3, they can.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
wait until after the bio then, and he will still have to deal with 1 at least, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a bow while we're at it.
No.
Create water and wash the spores off of Juan.
I will say,
Probably.
Gogmert knows the only way to get rid of this mold is to burn it away. That is very fitting for Gogmert
Actually-
to know this.
Real quick, I don't know if it applies, but Juan was in range when she channeled. I don't know if it has an effect. If the
No, this is a poisonous effect that
Okay.
the mold actually has to either be burnt away or go its course, essentially.
Well, then Emanuele would hold Juan's head where it is not touching him. I guess he kind of has a bit in some reins since he's a riding snake, and tell Gogmert to go ahead and burn it off where you can. Because you still got fire hands, don't you?
Yeah. Still got a fistful of flames.
Yeah, you'll basically just roll the damage once, and he'll take it, but it'll get rid of the mold before it takes any more. I will still need at least 1 fortitude from Juan, though.
Okay.
No, 6.
6 points of wand. Fire damage to wand, but it does clear after this one round.
Alright. And then
So just roll a 16 or higher.
One
Yep.
half dozen to the other.
finally.
So currently no more wand damage.
So he takes 6 damage.
Yep.
That's showing up.
And then we'll go ahead and let the break happen until
Does the con damage he took
stay.
go away?
No, it stays until it recovers naturally.
Okay.
Or you can use magic to restore.
I have no lesser. Let me see if I have lesser restoration prepared.
Yeah, I'm getting that next level.
I'm not high enough level to pull one of those out of my bag.
I do have lesser restoration prepared if we want to use it on him.
That'd be
I also-
nice. He's got 6 con damage at this point.
Yeah.
Plus dex damage, plus strength damage. But, you know, hey, who's counting?
Right, Emanuele, you owe me one. This is my last
one.
level.
And when a goblin says that, you should be worried.
Yeah.
So I believe this would cure 1d4 ability damage, so you would roll 1d4.
All right, show me how much I owe you.
You want me to roll it?
Yeah. I
1d4.
feel like you're lucky today.
All right.
I'm putting
Well,
that
I got a
on.
2 on the initiative, so.
Ah! So he heals 1 con damage.
All right, so that, yep.
I also have 3 scrolls of lesser restoration.
Nah, I don't think we need to burn a scroll.
Okay.
I always hate using.
I mean, I have scribe scroll. I can make more scrolls of lesser restoration. It's on my spell list.
How much
And I'm
does that
pretty sure
cost?
that at that level it still only costs a day worth of work.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I can cast it again if you want. It just means in the short term, if other people take ability damage, I'm going to have less scrolls.
I love that very much video game mentality of, but I don't want to expend the expendable item. It always reminds me of the Pro ZD thing where it's like, we're really getting our ass kicked. Use an ether potion, but you can't craft or buy them from shops. I don't want to waste it. It's the final boss, but I only have 56 of them.
yeah, that's completely how I behave.
I've been trying to train myself off of that.
Gogmert, I'll fund your cost to scribe a new scroll if you would please help Juan with Juan.
All right.
What do you mean I could just put him in a bag and beat the boss to death with him?
I literally did
Oh,
that
that's
in
good.
this game.
Yep, I loved it.
So when that damage goes away, do his hit points automatically go back up?
Yeah.
Wow, you just super healed him.
But yeah, 4 of the 6 con damage. That's helpful.
Yeah. And the other 2 is erased by having the animal focus on him for con.
He just
So he's got his hit points back. He just has a little tiny handprint in his side of fire.
Given he was
Maker's
covered
mark.
in the dust, he kind of had to rub the fire all over him.
A lot of handprints.
Yes, Gogmert has been playing veterinarian.
Is everyone back now?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the fight does conclude. From where you're standing now, you do hear the sounds of rushing water coming from the direction these ghouls came from. The only other path you know of is the other one that seemed to have been a newer tunnel that had been made. It was a little bit south of the entrance you came to fight these ghouls in. But as of now, let's see, this area here. It just looks like the ghouls that were standing here were under some kind of like just watch of some kind. Or they were just kind of like meandering. You see bits of meat and you see a leg kind of half eaten thrown in the corner.
Mm.
But otherwise, it doesn't seem like there's too much sounds going on right now.
He's maybe all of them 6, I think.
Yeah, how many people can we confirm died in that mansion just from like the previous owners? Because you gave me a list at one point. I just didn't
So
count.
previous owners that you know have died. 1, 2.
Fix got to use one of her heals.
You know
on
at least
herself.
6 died, at least, and you know one of them was the Revenant lady upstairs.
Okay, and we just killed 5. So,
6.
well, including the Revenant.
No, you just killed 6 down here.
Oh, okay. So, Lucilla's not even going to voice that thought.
That can't also assume they not recruit from additional victims.
Can't read my mind, I say out loud.
Lucilla
Of
strikes me
course
as that person
nobody
that
can read
thinks out
minds.
loud.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do in real life way too much, but that's just a byproduct of living by yourself for 2 years. Well,
God damn it, what was that with the joke of the guy just thinking out loud and then reacting to people like they can read his mind?
oh, I feel like an abridged series did that a couple times.
Probably, but I feel like it was an actual show.
Yeah, it did happen in an actual show too. I don't remember.
Yeah. Ephixa, your bird still is gone. You haven't seen them since you were upstairs.
It's the longest you guys been away for a while, so I hope he's well.
It's just a bird that always sits on your shoulder that just randomly disappeared when we went to the sub basement of the mansion. I'm sure it's fine. I'm
You don't think-
forward.
You don't think the rat got him, do you? I think I would have noticed.
Pretty sure you would have.
Wait, you're saying that bird was real?
Well, of course.
Wait, hold on. Let's address that comment there.
Or it was just always sitting on your shoulder?
Did you assume you were hallucinating it? Lucille literally just stopped advancing to address.
No, I thought Ephixa was a little crazy and just had a pet, like a stuffed bird on their shoulder. Some people wear little brooches of like cockroaches and spiders and stuff.
Let's broach the topic that he thinks wearing a brooch of a roach.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything
So yes, you see a
A
thing.
tie of a fly.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I just come back to the group. Okay. So down left ways there, it's a room filled with blood, and down the right way there is a room that slopes down into a big pool of water. Also, my light just flashed into both of those, so stealth is pretty much out the window at this point.
Well, I'll take point then. So let's switch places.
You can. I mean, it's more than 5 feet wide, and I'm 3 feet tall. You can just walk right past me.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Reassuring. She'll try to listen to see if she could hear any wolf sounds or other sounds from one direction or another.
Yeah, roll perception.
I'll do the same.
It's really hard to hear anything right now. And to kind of address the issue why, looking over to the right, you see this large pool. This cramped tunnel opens into I don't know this word, but vertiginous gulf.
Mm-hmm.
A cathedral-like tavern with roof arching 30 feet overhead and dropping into a sloshing pool of foamy seawater 50 feet below. A steep stone ledge winds down to these surging depths, its slope glistening with moisture and mold, and a stone door stands in the northwestern wall about halfway down the slope.
Part of me is inclined to go in this direction first. Any objections?
You need to look at both anyway.
Gets bloodier over here.
Yeah, that's a right old charnel house over there.
So as you enter the western half of this foul-smelling cavern is heaped with bones, each scarred by scraping of teeth. And while most of the bones had been cracked open, and the marrow within has been sucked out.
Don't taste the blood.
The bones are stacked here, and over here you see what remains of bits of skin, scalps with too much hair on it for maybe one ghoul's sensibilities, cartilage between bones, eyeballs that don't seem exceptionally fresh.
Wow, I didn't think ghouls to be particularly picky when it came to foodstuffs, but okay.
Roll religion. They're generally not, unless they're feeding in excess and they have more to spare, which means that these ghouls have been busy, more than what's been reported.
Well, that's good to know.
Ephixa, roll me a perception.
Ooh, finally a good one.
You hear your bird. I can never remember his name off the top of my head. Yukai. You hear the call that it makes. I can't make a bird call, so I'm not going to try.
Yep.
Coming from down the hallway the way you came, and it seems panicked.
Back?
Yeah.
I just want to say, Richard, right when you said your bird calls, the crow sound from the sound effect played on my end.
Nice.
I gotta go this way. Yukai needs me.
And I reached for my phone, but it wasn't there. I was trying to
Backtracking.
make the phone call noise.
Wait, what are you?
Yukai needs me. I hear him.
It's not like it's an obvious trap, or damn it.
Which way?
It's still going, like, literally back towards the stairwell.
Do you guys... Can you hold your own for just a minute? Or do you want to come with?
Do we hear anything?
Roll perceptions. Yours will be a little higher than what she needed to roll because she's lived with this thing and she's an animal Aasimar, essentially.
23.
23, you would hear the bird as you're hearing her going back and talking about going back to help Yukai, and you do know who Yukai is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucilla and Ris'sh both hear it. Gogmert, you don't really hear it from as deep as you were in. And Emanuele, you don't hear anything.
What is she? He's going to step out of the way. What are you talking about? Where are you going?
Back this way?
Just give us a minute. Also, possibly follow us, too.
Maybe trouble, yes.
Where there's trouble, I shall charge.
This feels like a trap. Oh my god.
Maybe.
Also, my browser is not liking everyone moving their tokens.
Yeah, it's taking a minute.
Yep.
Yeah. I just noticed that. Like, wow.
I'll give Fairway a chance to catch up.
Yeah, I'm just not moving right now.
I haven't had a problem.
La-di-da for you.
Ironically, those of us with 27 tokens on the board are just fine.
Yeah, it's still coming from the stairwell, or at least towards that direction. And when you get into the room, go ahead and roll me a perception, Ephixa.
Into this room?
Yeah, right there. Go ahead and roll perception. It takes you a minute. Like, you stop hearing the sounds for a minute, and you kind of look around, you start making your way towards the steps, but it's like right when you get to the steps, you see trails of very thin drops of blood, and it's leading this direction.
Oh, I'm gonna fuck somebody up so bad right now.
And the serial killer wasn't enough for you to do that.
It's taking on a new personal quality to it.
I know how you would be on the trolley experiment.
What?
Never mind.
And yeah, the chirping is very loud in here now. You see the Yukai with almost half broken wing. It's part of its feathers have been pulled. Kind of like lying there as it's like chirping at you, but you currently don't see anything. If you'd like to roll perception to see if you see any signs of any. Nope, you do not. You're laser focused on Yukai right now.
Hold on. I'm going to be her good sense right now. 21.
21. Maybe. Let me check something. You said 21? No, you don't see anything.
All right.
All right. Well, she's going to enter cautiously, sword drawn, shield raised, and edge closer.
So I will say this attack will not be at flat-footed since you said you came in prepared.
Mhm.
As diving from this hallway to the northwest, this giant undead-looking bat flies towards you.
You chose the wrong fucking prey.
And it is going to bite at you, and we'll go into initiative after that.
That's a miss.
Yep.
Language.
Oh, I didn't select my token, but I 11. Try it again. There we go.
And then you just add it yourself.
I know. I added it on there.
Well, I mean, like, you can change it to 11.
Yeah, and I'm being honest, even though I really like that 21.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Descending down. So yeah, this creature, as it flies down, it doesn't manage to get a bite off on you. So it's going to 5-foot flap to be like hovering over Yukai.
The return of the 5-foot flap.
I mean, I assume it just uses its move action, not actually.
Yeah, no, it's not going to go there. It's actually going to go to here. And is going to let out a shriek. I need everyone to roll me a fortitude save. Well, not everyone. Hold on. 20-foot burst from it. So
I'm just going to assume.
Ris'sh, Lucilla, and Ephixa.
Is it a fear effect?
Let me double check. No, wrong button.
If it is, I get a +2.
It is not.
Okay. So it's a fortitude?
Yes.
14.
With fort, probably sounds like
33.
a sonic.
So Ephixa, you're the only one that resists this. As the rest of you, you're overcome by this sound, and you are stunned for 1 round.
Jesus, you have a +17 to fort saves?
Yep.
Charisma, yo.
Charisma and con. That's a
Hell
plus 8
yeah,
alone.
baby.
But that will be its turn, but it does forgo Ris'sh's and Lucilla's turn this round. Emanuele, you were too far away to get affected by this. As you hear the flapping of leathery wings and the screams of what sounds like a hellspawn.
It would never hurt me. I've got eyes on it. And since it's in the air, I guess I can take a pot shot.
The weird angle, I will say it'll be a -2 to hit it, though.
Okay.
I don't know where stunned is on this, but I'll just remember.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, it's already.
It's more than 30, isn't it? Yeah. Well, he might move up since 10, 20. Oh, no, not into her. Let's go back to there. So can I sit on that wall?
Okay.
And then he'll take a shot.
Yeah. You line up your shot, you fire into it, and it just hits it into the side as what like black and putrid looking blood kind of spill out of it as it practically ignores the damage, but it does take it.
And then I would tell Juan to guard Ephixa. And so he would move. That's his full move, but he could come. Can he sit on the wall right there? Is that just put him?
If he's on the wall, it would be squeezing.
Okay, we'll just leave him right there. That's a double move for him, though.
Okay. So you have to spend your turn stunned.
Mm-hmm.
And it is Ephixia's turn.
Fix's got a 5-foot step to flank with 1 and 2 weapon fighting.
And you're at 6 Bab now, aren't you, or no?
No, I'm at
Oh yeah, you multi-classed into War Breeze.
Yeah. But so I will also be using the power tech.
Okay.
So scimitar and
Ooh. Yeah, that crits. That will hit as well. Nice. You just slice into the thing, practically tearing part of his wing off, but with its undead fortitude, it just managed to continue on.
And that does have a upsetting shield style on it. So
that's
minus
everyone
2
else
its
gets,
attacks.
okay.
It has minus 2 to its attacks, and
And if it attacks someone else, doesn't it take a minus more or something, or they get a?
No, but if they miss by 5 or more, then I get attack of opportunity against it.
Gotcha. Gogmert.
All right. Let's see. Is someone in this space over here? I can't really see. Okay. Then and I'm assuming I still have the amount of charges since we didn't really do a whole lot of.
Well, again, you use the wand. It's only one charge. It's not your caster level charges.
Oh, you're right.
So
let me actually.
But a wand is you can just use it without provoking and just however you want to do it. So.
Yeah, I'm just subtracting one charge because I used it once to attack and then once.
Yep.
Although I can't spontaneously cast it, right? It's like my first level one.
It is.
But
you should have the list of the spells we decided on.
Yeah, I do. I have it on my sheet. Then we are going to take out the dog slicer.
Shing.
You see against the air dog?
Those damn air dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, they're going to evolve into blink dogs, and then we're really mad.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I'm out. No more blink dog.
It was the moon dogs that pissed you guys off.
Moon dogs, that's what it was.
I love how that was the one thing that drove us mad.
Yeah.
So this is 1, so it's 5 feet in the air?
Yeah. You'd still be able to hit it. It had to be within range to hit Ephixa, so I'll say you're in range too.
Alright.
It's just not on the ground is all. Damn you guys with your crits, but it does not confirm, unfortunately.
Darn. So 3 damage.
You slice into it.
How is it that your crit damage and your normal damage were the same?
That is a good question.
4 on normal. And
a 4 on 1, and then it rolled a 1 and a
4 minus 1.
Yeah, because minus strength.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Alright. That makes
either
sense.
way.
Wait, hold on. That's
it
one thing I noticed.
It's negative.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, but usually ideally I don't use the dog slicer. But
And if you're doing Unchained Rogue, eventually you'll get agile damage, right?
I think that's their level for Unchained Rogue.
Yeah.
This thing is going to bite at you again, Ephixa, because usually.
Oh wait, but I was also in flanking, right?
Yes.
Sneak
I
attack.
will say yes.
Yeah, totally, because you go across that space. So 2 on top of that.
Gotcha. And oh yeah, I did forget. Do you want to move your dogs?
My dogs.
Cats. Sorry, we were talking about dogs, and I got confused.
Fine dogs.
Yeah.
Feline dogs. That's what cats are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna come in. I don't think I can trip them when they're in the air.
No.
But we'll still bite.
I disagree.
I mean, you can pull them down lower, and I'll say that they're not prone, but they're on the ground. But that does hit and does do some damage.
Technically, raw, it says you can trip any target you have in reach, and prone flying creatures who are knocked prone fall towards the ground.
Yep.
So raw,
There you go.
If you have reach, you can just smack them into the ground.
Yeah, you like hit their wing or something instead of their leg.
All right,
so
you don't
go
need
ahead.
to tell me twice.
Yeah, roll that trip attempt.
Just tears it down.
Sure.
I figure we should address that now since one of us is a trip build.
Yep. Can't wait until you try to trip a dragon.
CB.
No, you just shield bash it.
That does not succeed, however.
Darn. And then I will have the second cat come up.
That didn't work. That didn't go our way, which means I need to be mad about it.
Furious.
He will get an attack, I believe, because he's moving through the space. I will
Take that
roll
attack.
my acrobatics.
24
Poor
to hit,
damn
or
bat.
17. Oh, yeah, acrobatics. Haha. And this is what acrobatics are trying to beat their CMD, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That will fail.
Okay. And he will take the...
And then I will also need a save. A fortitude save.
Alright. Get that coming up.
You're fine.
Okay.
No new diseases, no anything like that.
Finally, the attack.
That will hit and do some damage. I will say, I kind of fucked up on this fight. I forgot this thing has flyby attack, but I'm not going to retcon it. So,
Yep.
Not exactly the best avenue for flyby attack either.
Yeah, I get so many attacks of opportunity.
Yep.
From everyone else.
so
Plus
it's turn.
narrow confines.
Also, like, this is the first time that our group is perfectly situated. All of the melees are around the target, and all of the ranged are backed up.
It's going to bite at Ephixa. 18, I imagine, miss.
Is that including the -2 to the attack?
So 16 will miss.
And that since that's 5 or more, I get attack of opportunity.
Oh, yeah. God, you guys and your synergies.
Right. Does the power attack carry over or no?
Yeah, that's fine. If you announced it when you did on your turn and it hasn't come up to your turn again, I'll say that's just how it is. So that means you also can't turn it off if you wanted to either.
Right.
That will miss, however.
Oh wait, that should be 2 more since I didn't factor in flanking.
That'll still miss.
Okay.
And then it is Ris'sh's turn. You managed to shake off the ear-piercing screech that it sent at your poor ears.
Honestly, I don't know what to do other than throw this at it because we've assumed it'll miss.
Yeah, that will miss.
Ample proof that it's undead. Or at least not very healthy.
And if it's unhealthy, is it really alive?
Does it want to be? Does it deserve to be?
Alright. Emanuele's going to attack using Broken Wing Gambit and Wounded Paw Gambit. Which just means she looks weak. Wand, that
Broken
is.
Wing Gambit too soon.
That's just insensitive.
And what does that do again?
That means that... Well, it didn't hit, did it?
Nope.
Okay.
Wait, with flanking, yes, it would.
Oh, okay. Nice. Does it pass the CMD to grab?
It does not, but it does not matter because describe your kill.
Oh, well, Juan was getting all excited, looking weak, going to use this new technique that it had just learned from Emanuele, and slipped in sideways and accidentally ripped the bat's head off.
Got a little overexcited by it.
Yeah. So in the future, what it does is if he hits that creature, the next time that creature attacks him, it gets a +2 to attack. And when it does attack him, Emanuele gets an attack of opportunity.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is one of those times for me because I'm thinking about Lucilla coming out of stunned, and it's only been like 12 seconds. When I love the time scale of these games because in narrative time, this bat swooped down, it screeched once, and about a half a dozen people ran into the room and just beat the shit out of it all at the same time. Like,
Yep.
that's like in a bar standing up saying, "Yeah, well, fuck you too," and then 6 separate people run 30 feet and punch you simultaneously.
Yeah, that is pretty vicious when you paint it that way.
Oh god, they keep coming.
I mean, it's from a gameplay standpoint. If they made it longer than that,
No,
they'd have to
I'm-
explain why certain things only last so long.
and I know
or-
it's technically not simultaneously; it's like within a few seconds of each other, but it's still just funny to think about.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
let me tell you, if I saw that at a bar, I would be very quiet for the rest of my time.
Right.
Yeah, I'd slip out.
just drink your beer. Try not to make any sudden moves.
Put a 20
And
on
pray-
the bar and,
And
roll
pray that you
away.
don't upset the drunken monks.
And I'd just be like, wait, did those 6 people know each other? They came from different parts of the room.
And their
I mean-
attacks were so coordinated.
This is
I mean,
what
they're
happens
flanking
when
and
you go to
everything.
drink at a monastery, okay?
Yep.
That's why they don't allow drinking there.
All right. Well, we rescued your canary from the coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot. Gently
Yay.
scoop them up.
Go team, I guess.
I don't know a lot about the biology of bats versus birds, but could that have been its mate?
Ephixa, as you scoop it up,
That's why he's the one I trust the most, guys.
The
It-
size
it's still-
differential is horrifying on that mental picture.
you guys still trying to make its way over to what looks like a cadaver that's on the ground,
Mm.
and like chirping at it, and like kind of doing its best impression of trying to motion you towards it. It's very hurt. You might need to heal it before it can really do anything
Yeah.
with you.
Fix will go ahead and do a lay on hands on him.
I'll say that's enough to heal it back up. We'll say that for the purposes, if anything does attack your familiar, it's at around 10 hit points, which its normal maximum, I think, is like half your maximum.
Yeah, which would put it at 27.
Yep.
So he gets.
The familiar almost has
Fortune
as many
back.
hit points as Lucilla.
Yep.
So you say he's up to 24 then?
Yes.
Okay. So once that urgency is taken care of, she'll start looking in the direction that it seems to be suggesting.
Looking over, you see the bodies of what looks about 3 dead humans, or at least humanoids. Seemingly long dead. If you wanted to roll me a knowledge local, or if anyone else wants to.
Oh, that's what I'm here for.
Lucilla, as you're like looking over, you see a marker on like with what remains of his tattered clothing.
Mhm.
Something like you swear you know this from somewhere, and then you see like the belt with like some customized embroidery. This is a notorious bandit, a one-armed bandit known as Red Shiv, known to have organized dozens of robberies against merchant convoys.
Wait, wasn't there a bounty on his head?
There was, and proof of his demise, which we'll get to that in 1 second, is worth about 500 gold pieces if you can bring it to the Law of Magnamar. What you do see, though, is what can identify him. You see a pearl ring, a scimitar, and a hat. With inside of the hat is a small package, like a small pouch.
Fix will check all of them out.
Yeah.
Look over to somebody.
I'm relaying all the information you just told me to the group, by the way.
Yeah, Fix will
If
say.
anyone wants to roll me an appraise for the stuff, or spellcraft, or anything like that, there is
Same
magical
stuff.
thing, I will say.
Yeah.
So appraise-wise, the pearl ring isn't magical, but it is probably worth about 300 gold. There's 56 gold in the pouch and underneath in the hat. The hat itself is magical, so that will need a spellcraft. And the longsword, while not magical,
Do you say
there's
longsword
something
or
you,
scimitar?
I keep meaning to say
Okay.
scimitar. There is something special quality-wise about it, but you can't really tell as it's still sheathed.
She would go to inspect it then, see if there's any magical writing or anything on it.
Nothing magical writing-wise on it, but as you begin to like turn it around. You kind of open it from the scabbard. You notice that the blade itself is green. So rolling over that appraise. This is an adamantine scimitar.
Oh,
Nice.
shit. Anybody object if I claim this?
No, it's a very, very valuable weapon.
What are you using right now?
Just a normal scimitar.
Yeah, and that's Saren Ray's favorite weapon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for you.
Yeah, as you take hold of it, Yukai does kind of chime up a little bit and like starts tweeting at you. Seems to be that it might have been trying to lead you down here originally, but you didn't take the hint the first time.
That was a very good find, my friend. Thank you.
No,
Shouldn't
that's
take.
spellcraft for the hat.
Yeah, spellcraft for the hat. It is a hat of disguise.
Nice.
And what were the stipulations on the bounty? As far
You
as
just have
what
to
Gabe
have
bring
proof of
back?
it.
Like-
you don't have to like give up the proof because whoever can get rid of him for the authorities is worth the reward. Basically, if you showed them this sword, they'd know that it was his. There's embroidery on the hilt, as well as the belt that he has on him that kind of mark him as such. He was, from what you could tell, was a very flamboyant highway bandit.
Okay. She'll, of course, take the sword and also take the belt as proof.
Yep.
Do you say there's a pouch in the hat?
Yeah, it had 56 gold in it.
Oh, okay.
If someone's keeping track of all this.
Notepad running.
I don't know what we're gonna do when Kenneth's the GM. Who's gonna be our accountant bitch?
Cool. He's done it before.
I know. I just had to talk shit. I'm terrible at note taking. I tried so hard with the dwarf game, and I just failed miserably.
I'm so bad at remembering to write down like all the loot that we find outside of just the stuff that I'm directly taking for myself.
Mhm.
But I seem to be really good at remembering the plots of individual sessions. Probably because my brain is prioritizing it over things like login passwords, street names, and birth dates. I put birth dates on my phone calendar now, so I don't forget family members' birth dates anymore.
You know, if I had a phone, I'd probably do that.
If you can do it on your computer too.
Yeah, my computer never pops up those things, though. I have to figure that out. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is here is you're all in this room that you feel a gentle breeze that kind of dissipates some of the rancid smells here. And Ephixa, since you're the closest one, you do notice that leading up to this path, you hear just a small drip. And it is actually a path that leads into a secret hidey hole that's about 10 feet above the water of the well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of covered by a lip that kind of obscures it from the top.
Do it.
It was a very high perception to determine it from the top, because it's literally designed to only be seen from the bottom.
Mhm.
If you guys had crawled down into the well, you would have been able to see it easily, but then you would have been attacked.
You said up here? It goes
Yeah,
up?
like basically right there. You kind of put your head
gotcha.
out like 5 feet and look up, and it just goes straight up into the well.
She picks up the copper she dropped down it.
Yeah, you reach into the water. You probably don't want the copper if you have to go any deeper for it,
Ah, fair.
because this is like 5-10 feet above the water.
Ah, okay.
So even just putting your hand on the water, it's very grimy.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, as you were.
Sorry about that, guys. Just friend in need needed to. Yeah.
Well, other than this ringing in my ears, it's going to be there for the rest of the day. Seems like it all went fine.
Lucilla's just in the corner.
Listen, I've had tinnitus in real life. It's no joke.
Oh, it sucks.
Oh yeah.
Ringing in your ears is terrible. I don't know how people can live with it their whole lives.
Yeah. No. Like I when I got it, I just took a sick day early. I left work early and I just went home. Well, not home. It was a hotel at the time, and I just Try to be as quiet as possible. Cars sounded like thunderclaps on the walk back. Wait, before we all start moving our tokens and we get laggy, Benevolent GM, could you just scoop us all up and move us back to the other room?
Sure.
Rather than this inchworm thing. That's really annoying.
I can fly.
Wee.
Thank you. All right, back to what we were doing.
I'm just moving you guys a little bit because it was kind of like right in the wall there. But
yeah.
When you do approach this intersection again, go ahead and roll me another round of perceptions.
Wait.
Okay, so Ris'sh, you do hear the faint clicky clacky sounds of almost sounds like fingernails on stone coming from the room with the whirlpool on the bottom. From where you are, you can't see where they're coming from, but you hear the clicking clackering of something crawling on the walls.
Sound like something crawling in there.
Something's coming out to greet us.
Do we want to make our way down there or finish searching the bloody room?
I say
Defensive formation?
I say let's make our way down here. Just
Okay.
get it head on.
Yeah, Ephixa, as you enter, you don't really see anything. Ris'sh, you come in just in time to see what happened to Ephixa as crawling on the wall is this thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like a
ugly.
koala bear.
Actually, fucking drop bear.
Koala. Yeah, that
God, cool.
You recognize a goblin when you see one. And while it's similar to the ghouls you've been fighting in terms of overall appearance, it's a little more so. These are goblin ghasts. And one of them's going to get a free attack on you.
Oh no, it's B36!
How dare you see my numbers?
Mm-hmm.
My shame.
I do the
he
same
uses
thing.
GM notes.
Hey, at least you didn't see some of the other stuff I have my
You should memorize every room and its contents with no reference material, Richard. What kind of fucking amateur shit?
God, you're not Matthew Mercer.
I know. I'll never be good enough.
Wait a minute, you're not?
Jumps into the water.
I can't believe that's what some people who get into this hobby is disappointed that their GM that they find on the internet isn't Matthew Mercer.
Right.
I mean, he's not that great.
He's
You guys
good.
are just as good.
He is pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's not like every game of D&D has to be a big show of like presentation like they do.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, I love Critical Role,
Yeah.
but that's not like a summary of D&D as a whole is how they play.
No.
Yeah, and people seem to lose track of the fact that, acting is kind of what they do for a living, so of course
Yeah, they're basically D&D radio play.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love it for that, but it's not
yeah.
just you're not going to expect that in every D&D game you play, and some people forget that.
All my criticisms with the Critical Role community have nothing to do with the actual people who make it themselves.
Right.
They seem like down-to-earth, nice people who are well aware of what they're doing.
Mhm.
It's some of the weird internet cult shit. There's me.
I mean, internet people are weird in a nutshell, though.
This
Yeah, I was
is-
gonna say that's what the internet does. Is
But-
cult.
but not the charming kind of weird, because there is that too out there.
Man, I am rolling fire tonight with all these like fucking 2s, 3s, 1s.
The internet exists to do one thing and one thing only. Take the things you like and make you hate everyone else who likes them.
Or turn into porn.
Yeah, I was gonna say
True.
also porn.
The internet
a porn
is porn.
So yeah, the one we'll get in the free attack on Ephixa, it'll be your flat-footed AC.
That's 14.
That is
No, wait,
the
not. Flat-footed is 20. What? That doesn't seem right. It says my
Flat-footed would be minus your dex and dodge if you have it.
Yeah, I think these sheets are broken.
Yeah, I don't know why it says my flat-footed is 25, but my AC is 21. Can do that, but
My flat-footed is right.
my dex would be 18.
So 23 would hit. Will be 3 damage.
You know,
3 damage?
Where did you put your the AC that you got from the level up thing? Like, what type did you make that?
I created an item for bonus progression and 1 to AC, 1 to flat-footed, 1 to deflection.
Okay.
I don't know. I can look at it later and see if I can figure it out. I had to fix a couple of them before, so.
Yeah, because my touch and flat-footed is fine.
Yep. So that will be 5 damage, and you will need to make a Fortitude save.
All right.
I think I broke my sheet because early on, Emanuele had 2 different sets of armor he would switch between.
Crap. I rolled a 2.
Oh shucks.
You do have a hero point.
Fuck you,
Also,
Loki.
Yeah, he's being tongue in cheek here.
I know.
19.
So yeah, that does fail. Oh no, it doesn't. It's fine.
Guys, run.
Mhm.
I will say now that you're in here, unless you're climbing along the surface, like going only against the edges here, you will have to make a acrobatics check to move without having issue. And if you fail, you fall down the ramp a certain amount of speed.
So the
Like, does
slide
anyone's climb check equal less than 4? By the way,
you mean just like base total?
yeah. If you rolled a natural 1, for instance.
Yeah, if I rolled a natural 1, I would be 5.
Okay, as long as if at a natural 1, you can be at 5 for climb. You're not gonna have to make any checks to move in this area if you're against the wall.
Gotcha.
Good.
If you have less than that, you'll have to roll in case of a natural 1.
Yeah, I have less than that.
Just a little bit less than that.
Glad I got that trait that let me use dexterity for climb.
Gogmert, you're up. It also means
Alright.
animal companions are gonna have a bitch of a time, at least during combat. Except for Juan, I imagine. He's slippery.
You said they could perform acrobatics to not slip, and those cats
Yeah.
are probably pretty.
That is true. And it's not super high. It's not gonna be like you make one bad roll and you're dead.
All right. Oh, I wonder, do I have... Oh, I don't think I prepared an animal aspect.
And 1 has a plus 17 to his climb, so
Yeah, he's fine.
get some.
It might
Okay,
be
It's not a
worthwhile.
fort save, but
It might be worthwhile to pull back because. Yeah.
So we look down these things.
Yeah, they actually have a climb speed, so they're on the walls.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna leave the area where they have the clear advantage to pursue us.
Mm,
All right.
don't stand near the wall.
I will say,
If only I hadn't used burrow, I would burrow around.
yeah, Gogmert, this is the first time of you seeing undead goblins for sure. Generally, their bodies don't last long enough to become undead.
Let me see. Can I roll any kind of check to identify what tribe these goblins would have been from? Do
Yeah.
they have any identifying markers?
Nature, geography, local, any of those will work.
All right, let me see. I suspect nature will be my best one. Yeah.
Yeah, you can easily identify these goblins. And these are members of the Toadlick tribe.
Okay, so it's not as bad as if they were Thistletop goblins.
These are definitely a tribe you've been at odds with before, so you don't really feel any qualms about having to kill them, even though they're already dead.
All right. How far down are these ledges?
Excuse me, I had to drink something. Let's see.
Oh, it looks like it kind of spirals around.
It does spiral around. The very bottom is about 100 feet down.
Okay.
Great,
So
googly
each-
moogly.
Yeah, so like if you fell down this, I think it'd be like 30 feet,
Mm-hmm.
another 30 feet, and then another 30 feet into the water.
And they're up where I can't get to them. Okay, so
Yeah, they're all about 10 feet up, so.
Oh.
Clickety clacking on the walls.
move right there.
I just realized dynamic lighting wasn't on that doorway.
Well, I didn't see anything.
You see nothing?
I play so closed in. I did not notice. All what do I have that I can use at a range? I guess I could cast Produce Flame. That would work. My only other ranged option is a sling, so yeah, I'm going to do Produce Flame. So with the wand, casting Produce Flame, on this one over here is a ranged touch. It's still a touch attack when it's ranged,
Yes.
right? I believe so.
It is.
Ranged
Just
touch
range
attack.
touch. Yep.
That will hit.
Plus 1 for 6 damage on that goblin.
Takes it right into his face. As you hear him scream some obscenities in Goblin, even being aghast, that make you kind of think of home a little bit, but it's weird coming out of a mouth that has a tongue about as long as he is.
And then I will have Scrimshaw. Just move over there, so that's a double move.
It will need an acrobatics check.
No problem. They've got plus 10s in acrobatics.
You're fine.
And much the same with Tangletooth, but let's see where I want to put him. Is this a space I can occupy or no? Is that a wall?
Yeah, you can stay there. And he was hugging the walls, but I don't think he can make a climb check. So go ahead and roll me another acrobatics.
All right.
Yeah, fine. And those are double moves to get them there?
Yep. Those are both double moves, I believe. So.
Okay. Emanuele.
All right, go ahead and tell Juan to flank. Which he actually gets there in 40. So he can give it a shot. Can he reach this guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like above you guys, so small creatures might have a little bit of an issue, but generally you're fine.
Well, 2
I think
means
all
he's
these
10 feet
animal
in the
commands
air,
are neat.
right?
All right, I pressed it, but I don't see it showing up. So I'm gonna...
If he's 10 feet in the air, I don't think we can hit him.
Well, you guys take up a 5-foot space, and they're like
Yeah.
a 5-foot space above you. So you're still only attacking a 5-foot space away.
Yeah, my thought is if they're attacking us, we could attack them if they're not at range.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Go with the first one.
Yes.
22
please.
does hit, and it does grab and constrict.
All right.
And it just destroys this fucker.
Oh.
You're too good, Juan. Stop it.
And he uses Broken Wing Gambit.
I mean, come on. 32 damage in one
Yeah.
bite.
Yeah, that's
Come
absurd.
on. What can I do against that?
All right, and so Emanuele's going to take a pot shot at that dude. It is out of point blank range. So he
You're
has...
just too good at building animal companions. Go.
I loved him. So,
I won't argue with us being able to hit him, but I don't know. The way I visualized it was like
7 for 6.
Well, I mean, if he's only got 5 feet reach himself and he was able to hit Ephixa, then
yeah.
So the way I was thinking of it is, if you think about it like 3-dimensional, there's the 5-foot space you're on, and above you there'd be like a 5-foot space if there was a flying creature. But that creature would be technically 10 feet up if he was occupying that 5-foot space above you. And that's essentially what he's doing, just at an angle.
See, but a 2 makes me think it's 10 feet up. So, like, say this is just top down, right? What I'm pointing. So this is the ground. Okay, this is where we're all standing.
Mm-hmm.
If he's 10 feet up, he's up here, and there's a whole space in between.
I see where you're coming from.
But yeah,
I'm just using the 2 as being 5-foot space up, and then like this is a 5-foot, this is a 10-foot.
yeah, okay.
Is how I'm treating it.
Just like a
makes
one would be flying but still hovering.
Yeah, that's what the bat was doing. He was 5 foot up, so he was on the ground level essentially, but he was still hovering.
All right.
So Emanuele
that
takes a
makes
shot
sense.
at this guy.
You hit him.
6 damage.
Yep. And now I have to figure out how fast these things move. Skitter scatter. Everyone's about to go splatter.
And Emanuele's gonna give Juan covering fire against that guy because he does not have to be adjacent.
Gotcha. And then there'll be Ephixa turn as the other one, just all 4 hands, just
Oh, I didn't see that
hands
one.
and feet just skitters around.
Do you want me to stay up here and help protect you guys against those, or should I press ahead?
I think they're gonna come to us. Hold the high ground.
Obi-Wan taught me that
says
means
they're
I
above you.
automatically win.
Who?
Nothing.
Okay.
Is this a safe place to stay, or does it kind of squeezing?
If you move there, you're gonna have to roll an acrobatics either way because you're moving away from the wall. Right there, it wouldn't be squeezing, but you'll have to make a second acrobatics check, or it'll be a little higher than the normal one because you're like right at the lip there.
I'll give it a shot.
So I'll have you have 2 acrobatics, so that'll pass the first one, and yeah, you're fine.
That was the.
But
move
I will
action.
say, as long as you stay on that space, it will be an acrobatics every turn instead of only
Okay.
when you move.
All right.
Sorry,
And so move action there, and then standard action. I'll hold action to attack an enemy that comes in range.
Gotcha.
She'll glance back and say, "Could you make a bit of room for me? I'm not liking being this close to the edge." And that will be my turn.
Okay.
Now
Lucilla.
let's see. I'm trying to think of something fun and crazy here. So, what's the ceiling of the cavern like?
It's pretty large. It's like 30
so
feet up.
Okay. Let's see. What's the is there lots of texture on the wall or something?
Excuse me. It's like that typical erosion you see of areas that are super like wet and misty, where it's like streaks going down. Some of them has been like moss and fungus growing in them, but they give you handholds, which is why it's only a DC 5 to make climb checks to pull yourself with the wall.
Gotcha. All right, let me look at a skill here. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Let's see. I want to do something cool sounding, but I don't think it's in the cards, so I'll just have to describe it the mundane way. I am going to move here.
Okay, give me a acrobatics, because that is a very precarious spot.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, because this might affect it. Is Ephixa right-handed?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a 3-foot bit of nothing, so I'm gonna grab the rim of her shield. So here's my acrobatics. I'm gonna re-roll that.
Yeah.
And pull me down with you.
Listen, it'll be cool. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I'm
Unfortunately,
all for it.
that won't be enough with where you are and precarious like that. So you will take a tumble. Good news is, I misread. It's only 50 feet down to there, so you only you fall basically a d6 worth of damage, but you fall prone on the floor, the step below you.
As I'm falling, can I make an attack?
I'll allow that.
I wanted to trip this goblin with my whip, so if I'm falling, then it's my weight on him on the wall.
Fair
Wait,
enough.
does that mean you'll pull him down with you?
That's the
Yeah,
whole.
make a trip attempt, and you see if you can pull him down with you.
When there are no chandeliers to swing from, make your own.
That was my entire point. Is what I was trying to do.
Nice.
23.
23. Yeah, that'll pull him down. So he's at level with you down there now.
So I just use Fix's shield as a springboard, and I just whip and I just drag this one down with me.
So take at least
Drusilla,
2d6
where are you
damage.
taking him?
Do you want me to shift down to like below?
I'm just
here?
gonna put.
Okay.
I was gonna put a red dot on you to indicate you're, in the lower level.
Yeah. So, got him.
So now you're down there with him alone.
Yeah, this one crawls down
That
and runs
wasn't
over to you.
wasn't like my intent. Also, didn't we both take damage?
Yeah. So you took 1 damage. He took 4.
Aha!
And then this one's gonna get a bite at you as he runs up to you.
Alright.
Will miss terribly. Well, it'd be your flat-footed because you're prone. Or no, it's not flat-footed. It's +4 to his attack. Sorry.
That'll
it's been a hot
still,
minute.
That'll still miss. As I just put a boot on his forehead to hold him back.
This one is going to get to here, and he's going to crawl another 10 feet up the wall. Seeing the giant snake just decapitate and swallow his friend whole.
I'm fine. Don't sweat it.
Ris'sh.
Mm-hmm.
Also, make sure to put the prone icon on you. I forgot to do it for the other guy.
Listen, this is a role-playing game. Sometimes you have to try to do crazy, stupid things to have fun. I'm just doing the Michael method.
Hey, no, I liked it. That's why I
careful.
I love it.
The Michael method often ends in TPK.
Listen, I have said before,
Or at least
and
rolling up your own new character.
Yep, and I will. I've said before, and I will say it again. That moment with Rimia falling down in the pit 3 times, but then using the spider climb ability to climb up the same side to keep trying jumping, is such a fantastic character moment that I cannot give Michael enough credit.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm making this jump. I know I can do this.
As you fall down and one of them leaps at you and another one starts crawling, Ris'sh, you kind of just peek around the corner and zap right into its head. You see its like eyes kind of wiggle as the coursing energy goes through it. Like, you know that like wiggle that you see in like cartoons and stuff where it looks like they're about to pop, but they don't quite do it. They're goblins. They have to be a little bit more flavorful, comical with their damage.
That was a good description.
Gogmert.
I think
He was cursing y'all for the Michael character references.
Hey, mine was a compliment.
there's a goblin and then 2 goblins down here. Okay. I think we'll have the animal companions take care of that one. Do I have any way of getting down there without busting my ass? The answer is no.
Yeah, there was only a 10-foot drop. I think acrobatics can make that no damage and land on your feet.
I think so.
Gogmert will.
It's just a higher DC because if you don't make it, it's slippery.
Gogmert will intentionally jump off that ledge.
Acrobatics.
He does not have an especially good one, but it's a +5. 13. I think the base DC is a 15, so...
Yeah, so you fall prone, and you actually wind up sliding 5 feet this way, and you kind of just barely, like, kick up to stop yourself from falling into the water below.
Cool. And
It's not time for your bath this month, Gogmert.
okay, got the prone icon. From the prone position, I'm going to use a charge of Produce Flame on the one that's prone.
Go for it.
You just look him in the eye.
So that will be at a -4 because it's prone and you're fighting a ranged attack.
Alright.
Also, it's engaged with an ally, and I don't think you have precise strike, so that's a -8.
No, the other one is the one that bit me, the one that ran out.
Yeah, but it's still 5 feet from one of his allies.
In Pathfinder, you're engaged if you're even within 5 feet.
This is what happens when we keep doing multiple systems.
The courtship is very short.
So it's a -8.
Yes.
Well, it is touch. That's going to be a -3 total. 13 touch.
Okay, that does not touch, unfortunately. They are goblins, so they're a little bit more slippery than regular ghasts.
Okay.
You all kind of watch Gogmert do a baseball slide off the top ledge, kind of slide to a stop and fire off a firebolt out of his hand. He kind of looks away, trying to make it look cool, but it's just enough to make it go off the side a little bit.
All right. Then the animal companions.
Yep.
Will just.
They won't be able to reach him as he is 20 feet up.
This is fine with me.
He saw the snake and he wanted to hide.
And now he's got the cats nipping at his heels.
It's like a bird up a tree and it's just surrounded by cats.
Emanuele.
All right. This isn't a trained command, but I'm going to tell him to climb. So I probably need to do an animal handling.
Yep.
Which would be here.
Yeah, you can have him do whatever you wanted to have him do.
Yeah, so that's good.
One fly.
Yeah, one.
He just sprouts wings.
Eat the room. So he's just going to climb up because he can only climb 20 feet. So he'll go up to even level with that guy. And then Emanuele is going to come in here and take a shot at... So I know that prone ranged gets -4 against them, but if you're 15, 20 feet above them, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But if you
I'll
want
say
to
they have
hold,
a
I'll just shoot that one.
A -2 instead of a -4.
All right, I'll shoot this one instead, the one who's not prone. Or try to.
Look, there's a lot of make-believe going into these games. Just bear with it and we'll get through this.
Yeah, no. I agree. We used to have, I know in old systems they used to have higher ground, like you got
I
bonuses.
think Pathfinder has an optional thing.
Yeah.
Is he within 30 feet, given that it goes down?
How far down does it go? 10?
Sorry, it's
I think
10
so.
feet down. It's like 10 feet down here. Like all the way down to the water, it's 50 feet. So
Okay.
it's about 10
Well, I
here.
think the next level will be... I think the hypotenuse will put you about 20, 25 feet. So, yeah, within 30.
So he's gonna point blank and miss. Never mind.
Fair enough. Excuse me. This one is going to stand up.
That's not technically provoked from me.
It does.
Because I know I can't trip him. It's as hilarious as that would be.
Yeah, I was doing that a little too much with the
Yep.
Loki game, and then I realized, oh, this isn't a legal thing because attack happens before they stand up.
I will stab him in the shin with my dagger, though.
Pocket knife, yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah.
that hits.
Just give him a little nick.
And then it's going to bite at you, and since you're still prone, it's at a +4.
All right.
21
Yeah, it'll hit.
for 4 damage, and I need a couple fortitude saves.
All right. These are disease-based, right?
One is.
Okay.
The first one will be disease-based.
Okay, then this will be at a +5. Because I drank anti-plague.
Oh, yeah. Good on you.
I'll re-roll that.
Yep, you have one more reroll, so.
There we
Okay.
go.
So you do not contract ghoul fever,
Okay.
but now this is the paralysis. And you are paralyzed
Of course.
for 3 rounds.
Thus the fun punishment.
Yep.
I'm joking. It's fine.
I mean, technically, every
Punish,
system has a fun punishment.
Yeah.
A punishment, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep looking for what the paralyzed icon is in here.
Because
And then
someone
it'll be
out there should be enjoying your misery.
So, seeing Lucilla's plight, she would call out to her, and so I would like to charge them, assuming I could basically jump down and slash down and kind of treat that as a charge, since it is 10 feet of movement.
Yeah, you can do the Sephiroth maneuver.
Okay. And I imagine I have to do acrobatics for a landing, so I'd like to tap a hero point ahead of time to add a plus 8 to that. Yeah.
Yep. Go for
So,
it.
do you want the acrobatics roll or the attack roll first?
Acrobatics first.
Okay.
I'll still let the attack go off either way.
Alright, so plus 8 to this.
It's just seeing if you can actually stick the landing after you heroically stab
Yeah.
someone, you biff it.
So that's
that
what
will
the
work.
8 factored in.
So that will succeed. So you'll be able to land where you want. Your
Awesome.
plan.
So basically directly beneath where I'm at now.
Yep.
And then, so I'll use a power attack. So that'll cancel out the charge. Add 4 to the damage, and go. Damn.
13 will miss, unfortunately.
Oh, looked awesome though.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's there, right next to her.
hmm I only have those dots on you guys since you're right at that lip. It's easier to
Yeah.
differentiate.
Makes sense.
Round 1 of your 3 rounds of paralysis.
I thought it was 2
this-
rounds.
2 plus 1. I just rolled it off
Gotcha.
of the little button thing on the side.
Gotcha.
I do that sometimes. This one's gonna look at Lucilla, look at Ephixa, looks back at Lucilla with a little lick of his tongue that kind of like licks his whole face. It's so large. And it's going to bite Lucilla as it claws at Ephixa. So biting Lucilla.
Yeah.
Will hit for 4 damage. And it will be another fortitude save against the disease.
Thankfully, the +5 lasts for an hour, so
Yes.
13.
13, I believe, does not make it.
Is it really per thing, even if you succeed the save once already?
I believe so. I mean, just put a pin in it for now, and
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
Because like I was going to say, I'm like, that's just like make him automatically have the disease at that point. God.
Yeah, I could be wrong. but
Yeah.
Either way, 2 claw attacks against Ephixa will both miss.
Yep.
I think it's that way because otherwise the gas and ghouls CR would drastically go down because they sacrifice damage to inflict stuff.
It's usually a low DC as well.
Yeah, I mean the DC is only 15. I'll just tell you that. So
Only 15 with my +3.
So this one's gonna go over here and climb down to be able to reach the cat. I believe it was it held on action or no? If you're muted, Michael, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry?
I said, was Tangletooth holding an action or was it a double move to get there?
I don't think it was a double move, but I don't think I said I was holding an action, so...
Okay, so it's just gonna go there and bite at Tangletooth. For 3 damage, and he already has gold fever, so I'm not gonna sweat that. And it is Ris'sh's turn.
Yeah, I suppose I'll keep pelting the one. And as soon as I can find the fucking... Another 2.
And which one were you targeting? Okay. Yep, it's slowly whittling him down. Let's see. And it is Gogmert's turn.
Alright. So, this one is low enough to attack now, right? Richard?
Yes. It is low enough to attack, sorry.
Okay. Then I will have Scrimshaw come over. Actually, let's have Tangletooth move 5 feet over here. Scrimshaw will come in there. And 2 bite attacks. But yeah, we'll just roll both as Scrimshaw at the same time. So, first one.
That'll
And
hit.
second one.
Okay, and describe your cat's kill of this thing.
It's so
Beat it for a half hour with their paws and then bring him half of the bloody corpse.
There you go.
Yeah, so they're gonna keep kicking at it for the next round. And there's just Gogmert.
Gogmert is gonna stand up. And is he the only one down here now? Is Ephixa down here or is Ephixa up there?
Half the party's down there.
Okay.
Yeah, red dots are down there.
Oh, let me put one on Gogmert then. So
They got the red dot because they're on the square that's on the boundary.
that'll just for consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have people on different levels. Let's see. They are Lucilla is paralyzed, right? Can't cast. Alright, I'm going to use Produce Flame.
As you do.
Launch. Wait, have either of these guys taken damage yet?
Yeah, the one against the wall looks pretty hurt still.
Yeah, I'll throw
Or not still. He looks pretty hurt. This one doesn't look like he's been hurt at all yet.
I will throw a flame at that one. So,
Sorry, I was a little distracted because it was bugging me and I had to look it
Wait.
up. Yeah, if you
Wrong roll.
fail a save, it doesn't matter how, or if you succeed a save, unless it says otherwise, it's
Yeah.
still have to roll again.
I just looked it up too. I was waiting for my turn to mention it, but yeah. So
that was an 8. That was an 18 plus
That will hit.
5. I rolled the wrong modifier from last time.
Oh,
But-
good.
Yeah, that's a very high roll, so I'm guessing that hits.
Yes.
Okay. Dealing out that 1d6 again. Just trying
6
to.
plus 1 is still like maximum 7 damage. That's chipping away at these levels.
3.
Sure, if you're still doing this at like level like 10 or something, it might not pay off, but
Yeah, and I'm mostly just saving spells so I can use. Actually, I don't even think I can use Flame Blade now. I think I used all my second level spells.
Next
Yeah.
up is Emanuele.
All right, he's going to shout at Juan to defend Lucilla. So he's going to release his climb here. Oh,
Okay.
no.
I'll say he wouldn't fall prone because he's a snake, so...
Yeah, does he take any damage or?
He's 20 feet up, you said?
Yep.
So he will take damage, but I won't rule this as prone because they just slither anyway.
Yeah.
So he'll take 5 points of damage as he falls.
All right.
The metal plates that are kind of stapled to this thing just kind of rattles as he lands.
And he's got 40 feet, so I imagine he can make it that 20 even with the going
Roll an
down.
acrobatics.
Okay.
Because even if he's a snake, there is still slipperiness in play.
Yep.
so I am.
And I've seen snakes roll.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Okay.
So
And
see
he
if we get
will try and bite this one.
Yeah, fucking, I swear, man.
Sorry, dude.
It's all good. He's dead. He's dead, Jim.
And then Emanuele will take a shot at that one down here. Which, yeah. This is not including a -4.
That will hit and describe the kill.
Well, as the blood splatters from one, squishing one through its scales, there comes a arrow shooting through the blood into the next one of his buddies.
There you go. Just destroy this poor bastard.
Now, if you excuse me, I'll continue having seizures here on the ground. I look forward to next level because I'm still in continuing Pathfinder Chronicler, and that's when I get Live to Tell the Tale, which lets me take more saves against ongoing effects, even if they would not normally let me. So, like, being petrified or paralyzed, on my next turn I could do another save.
Oh, that's cool.
That's very nice. Well, now Juan will continue to guard Lucilla, and he will swallow her.
What?
What? No. I gotta teach him not to do that.
Mm-hmm. You see, if that's literally how Lucilla dies, I am definitely making that ooze morph just in case you try to swallow again. I'll be like, I would like to turn into a ball of spikes inside this snake as he tries to swallow me.
I do want to build that. I've read a story about that one time with a shapeshifter where he just purposefully lets the giant worm swallow him so he can turn into a whale and make the worm explode.
I have lots of like fun comedic roleplay ideas with that. Like the fact that it's like an ooze that's pretending to be a person. I have lots of fun stuff about it just not understanding eating. Where it's all like, why don't you enjoy your drink? And it's like, thank you. And it just like bends over and lowers its full head over the entire tank.
How do you do, fellow salads?
And it just comes up. There's no mark on its face, but the entire mug is gone. It's like, delicious. And that's when you learn that it's not human.
Man, now I want Lucilla to die.
Right?
I'm gonna have lots of stuff where, like, sometimes it would forget to turn around when it walks backwards because it sees out of all parts of its body, so it just starts walking backwards while maintaining eye contact.
Okay, so eventually, after a couple, like 12 seconds or something, Lucilla does stop convulsing.
Either that or the head and boots just rotate 180 degrees.
Yeah, that's
Well, she didn't make it.
sorry. This is still a tangent. Have you guys ever seen that that video game Octodad?
Mhm.
Where it's literally just like an octopus in a suit, and the entire game is you control each limb individually, and it's just chaos. I imagine an ooze morph learning how to walk as a biped would be very much like that. Where it's just like, it doesn't understand how to balance on two knees, so it's just a lot of like its center of mass just moving up and down wildly as it's performing the splits, but it never falls over because it doesn't have a vital area to fall over onto. Anyway, I'm gonna murmur some magic words and cast this healing spell on myself. I haven't used any of my first level spells yet, so I can afford one cure light wounds on myself. For 7 hit points, which just about puts me back. Yeah, 2 shy. That's good enough. Well, I tried to do a thing. It didn't work out how I wanted.
Hey, still was very cool. I tried doing a thing too. Didn't quite play out as I'd hoped, but looked awesome doing it.
Good to take the initiative there, Lucilla, like the vanguard in front of the army.
You know, that fight was that entire fight was basically, I want to do something cool, the movie.
Right. With the subtitle of "But the dice don't cooperate."
Once again, the ooze morph would have been terrifying because they had a climb speed at this level, so it just would have blobbed onto the wall, and then maces would have shot out and came after the goblins.
Okay. So yeah,
Well,
you're free to.
Do we want to take a peek into the water down there, see if there's anything that just gathered?
How far down is it from here?
It's about another 25 feet. I will say, looking down into it, it looks like it goes deep.
Are these waterfalls like draining in?
Yes, and the water itself is already sloshing around quite a bit.
Is it clear looking water though? Not stagnant.
It does. It doesn't look stagnant and disgusting like the waters you've seen. It looks like this is fresh drainage water that leads probably into the ocean in some degree or another.
Mm.
It's not stagnant enough to putrefy. So,
Perception check into the water, see if there's a giant kraken down there.
roll perception. You think you see a tentacle, but you're not sure. It could be just playing tricks on you.
Everyone stay away from the water's edge. There may be a large beast down there. I'm not sure, but I suggest we leave the room.
Well,
To the door? I mean, you don't come into a cave and not adventure into the door, right?
I'm just like scooching along the wall. Anything of interest in this? Oh, there's loops there.
Hold on. Yeah, they just lead into like these large drainage pipe things, and that leads into the other room with the bodies and such. Mm-hmm. But you do come across a large metal door. Despite the what you've seen with the other metal door, this one is slightly ajar, and inside you hear roll perception.
Yeah, sure. Oh, 20.
Yeah. So listening in, you hear what sounds like sobbing.
Or
Again.
But it's not like the sobbing you heard of the woman like upstairs that was just like mournful sobbing. This almost sounds like a child crying, but like it's coming from an adult voice. But that like kind of whimpering and sniffling and
all right. Is this looks like a stone door?
yes.
I'll give it a perception for locks, traps, mechanisms, magic runes, funny smells.
It is slightly agape, not like a lot. It's basically off the hinge, like the mechanism, but it doesn't look like there's any traps of any kind.
Sticky substances.
No sticky substances.
Socks.
No socks.
The ultimate deterrent. It's just there's a dungeon door and it's just got a sock on the doorknob. You're like, I mean,
yeah, we'll come back later.
Clearly, the evil necromancer and his henchmen are having a thing right now.
Mm-hmm. Listen, like we're pillaging this dungeon, but we have like standards.
I mean, who are we to get in the way of love or lust, depending on the person?
Listen, like if tables were turned, we wouldn't want the necromancer busting in. So like,
yeah, we're not dwarves.
then you just hear someone whisper right to your ear, "I would though."
All right, I swing it open.
You swing it open.
Slowly, gently, quietly as possible.
It just
So much innuendo.
Yep.
Well, after I said the socks thing, there is, but before that, there was. All right, I'm going to go inside. And I assume this isn't like hazardous mold, this blue?
No.
Okay. Okay. So, all right.
So at the meantime, you just see what looks like the beginnings of a table.
Yep.
I'm not going to do the flavor text until you can actually get a full view of it.
Yep. Everyone, please stay
Okay,
close.
so hold there, please.
I'm holding.
So, this is a large one. The air in this damp cavern reeks of a horrific stench, a foul combination of decay, brine, and mold. The cave contains a rickety table, its damp surface cluttered with all manners of what appear to be garbage. Empty bottles, bits of cloth, crumpled bits of paper, and more lying all in neatly organized rows. A painting leans against the far side of the table, facing a large leather chair that sits nearby. This chair's high back and cushion are horribly stained by smears of rotten meat, and its arms are sticky with blood. A small table sits against the southern wall, its surface heaped with plates and platters of rotten, maggot-infested meat. The horrific stench of this room seems strongest to the west, where the cave's wall has been overtaken by a horrific growth of dark green mold and dripping fungi. At the center of the patch of black, in the center, a patch of black tumescent fungus grows. Its horny ridges and tumor-like bulbs forming what could almost be taken as a humanoid outline. What appears to have once been an exquisite puzzle box the size of a man's fist lies smashed on the ground at the fungoid shape's feet. However, what really draws your attention is the man sitting curled up almost in a fetal position in the chair at the far end. And he's just rocking himself. He's like, no, I don't want to do it. I didn't mean to kill her. I'm sorry. Mommy, no, please. And he's just rocking back and forth over and over again, just repeating these, like taking no notice of you at the moment.
I just without looking away from him, I just reach behind me and I do that thing where I just rapidly tap the person behind me, which is just guess fixes stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And I just try to gesture you to go ahead of me.
Fix would nod and would step up.
Still is fearless, but not devoid of tactical insight.
Based off his attire, would it seem familiar? Even if his...
It is very much Aldern. Even with the change of his physicality, he's still wearing the same fancy robe that you went on the boar hunt with him.
Mm-hmm.
Very regal blues. Ephixa, though, when you get into this room, you see him kind of jostle a minute, and he looks up. He still has that whimpering expression on his face. But then that, not in a comical way, but more in the menacing way. When you see Jim Carrey's face go from plain to that sneer of the Grinch?
Yeah.
But a devilish version of that. As soon as he sees you, he does that. His face just contorts. He's like, I knew you would come for me. I knew my letters would sway your heart. My love, let us consummate our hunger.
She would just point her sword at him and you chose the exact wrong path to try to woo me.
Man, a +10 modifier is initiative, and I rolled a 2.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think he's gone past woo into chew.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch to descending. And Ris'sh, you were up first.
What's his... Okay, never mind. Yeah.
What? Go ahead. What do you
I just wasn't sure if he was going to be before or after me. So, okay, that works.
Based on dexterity, he would go before you.
He has over 16 dex?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, his dex is in the mid-20s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what I've been saving this one for. So, upcast for...
I didn't see you were right there. Ris'sh, before you do that, you were in line of sight of this fungusy wall.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at it, the fungus on the wall, you see the strangely humanoid shape, and the shape begins to match your own shadow almost exactly. And you experience a sudden sensation of vertigo as you feel compelled to feed on the fungus to reclaim your stolen shadow. I need you to roll me a will save.
Alrighty.
Don't lick the wall.
It seems like
fine.
a bad idea.
Yeah, you really think that is a very bad idea.
So anyway, yeah, it's upcast to 7 minutes.
Okay.
And since Emanuele has gone and not joined us in the room.
Sorry, I had to pee. Could I have Retro moved over?
No, I see. I think it's an Emanuele thing to start looking through a water hole.
That's good. I like that.
Thematically,
I did have one randomly
regarding our flank,
climb up over.
But Gogmert stayed out here because I I had a feeling this was going to be a boss room, and I didn't want him to be able to fire a line.
Mm-hmm. Smart, but you also get a minute of protection from evil because you're within range. And I guess your cat can have it too. If they're both right there, they'll probably both get it.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both the same distance, looks like.
So hey, everyone but Emanuele gets protection from evil. Because he's already undead.
That's a good point. I should probably try and parlay with these people.
So we only get 1 extra to AC and saves, right? Because
the morale bonus. So if you have another morale bonus, they don't stack.
It's deflection bonus for AC and resistance.
Deflection, but we've also got the one.
Oh, that's restricted DC. Yeah, so if you already have a deflection, that'll only be an extra +1.
Okay.
And another +1 to resistance bonus on saves.
Yeah.
All right, my turn.
Yep. Still a +1 to AC and saves is still pretty good.
I'm taking
Do
it.
I have to do anything about this wall?
No.
Okay.
Seems to be it only affected Ris'sh.
Can I give a knowledge about it?
Yes.
Nature or Arcana?
This would be Arcana.
Thought so. Shazam. No, I have never heard of this in my life.
Yeah, this is weird to you.
I will spend my action then to begin doing Bardic Performance for Naturalist because he is he's either a ghoul or a ghast.
I will require another roll because he's a little more so than that.
Okay. 24? Probably high enough.
Yeah. He is definitely a ghast, but there's something special about his transition where he seems to have retained some of his human features in terms of, I'll just say, class levels that normal ghasts would not.
All right, so that means everyone within 30 feet of me get +2 to their attack rolls, AC, and saves against any non-spell abilities he has, and it's an insight bonus, so it will stack with what Ris'sh just did.
So you said attack, AC, and what was the third one?
Saves against non-spells. Like if he casts Fireball like a wizard, it does nothing. But if against his diseases or his paralysis, you got it.
Perfect.
Or spell-like abilities as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, I'll be right back, but that's my turn anyway. So
I will say, never mind. I was gonna say something, but it turns out I was wrong. Haha.
That would make it Emanuele's turn.
Yep.
All right. Hearing the commotion, he will. Oh, I guess he won't be able to see. So he will move up to 15. I think that was 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. And then. He might just stay there. And give can't give covering fire. Can give. Is anyone engaged? Is Fix engaged?
Nope. Nobody yet.
All right, so he will.
Though it sounds like he's trying to propose.
I was going to say, he might beg to differ.
He's going to call Juan over, and they're just going to. He's going to hold a ranged attack in case anybody peeks their head out that he can see.
Gotcha.
But right now, it's just too crowded in there for him to go in.
Gogmert.
All right. We are going to. Yep. Take a look at what's going on. Still don't see him. Let's go ahead.
Actually, on ties, I forgot. Ephixa, you would go first. I forgot. I err on the side of players if it's tied.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
So it's still Gogmert's turn.
Yeah,
so.
it's not my turn.
Sorry, I was just thinking out loud.
So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the cats in there. I'm going to cast Magic Fang on Tangletooth. So...
I just picture the cat runs by, Gogmert just slaps it on the ass, and his fangs grow out longer.
We only have one first level spell left. So... Tangletooth can run past us in the hallway, right?
Yeah. Like, what's the speed? I can move 30 feet, and he has 40 feet of movement?
Yes, he has 40 feet of movement.
He can get to the target and attack if he wants.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and make that attack.
Number 1.
And that will hit for 5 damage.
Magic, keep in mind. And then trip.
Will
Not the
fail.
best trip I've rolled.
However, as soon as he takes damage, as a basically free action, he drops to his knees and begins to sob and cry. He's like, "No, please don't. I don't want to be dead anymore. Please." He looks up at Ephixa. You have to save me. I don't want to be this anymore.
Repent from the grave!
I mean, it's up to you guys how you react. I'm just saying he uses a reaction. Basically, he falls prone, and he's just like begging and cowering.
He's trick.
I believe in such a thing as chaotic good mercy killing.
I believe in such a thing as being evil and not caring.
But you still have scrimshaw.
I believe that undead deserve a chance.
Scrimshaw's gonna come around. He will not be able to attack.
Jumps
But
on
he'll
top
be right
of
there.
the table there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Ephixa turn. He is just a blobby mess of sobs and panic cries.
Your crimes are many. You either repent for them or pay for them now.
No, it wasn't me. It was Herder. It was Herder and the Skinsaw man.
She would kind of pause.
I promise you, I don't want to hurt anybody. I promise. You can sense motive this if you wish.
Yeah.
He seems to be telling the truth.
Fix would kind of look back to the others like, hold on. There's something else, something more going on here.
What do you mean? It's clearly a trap. He's waiting for us to put our guard down.
I agree with Middlegak.
Well, whatever you're going to do, do it quick. I can only arbitrarily give you these tips for a certain moment or seconds for some reason.
Okay, eventually look back and say, tell us what's going on. And the truth, now.
Okay. He will start spilling his guts, but if you want to let him talk, I will say it'll take us out of combat. For the moment, at least.
Fix would insist
You can,
on it.
anyone who's holding things like your performance stuff, you could drop it if you wish. But I will say that this is going to be like a long-winded thing and then back and forth. It wouldn't exactly happen in combat rounds.
I would like to say I'm preparing to bardic performance. However, I do
I'll
that.
allow that. Fine. Yeah, that's no problem.
As your fingers over the strums or whatever.
I don't even play music. I literally just shout battle tips for people.
Of course, it's also down to, will Gogmert continue to let the cats attack?
Yeah, that is good. Are people going to hold off on attacking, or are they going to continue?
Let me hear what he has to say. In the first 6 seconds.
Well, what do you guys say to him so he can have something to respond with?
Tell us of the Skinsaw man and the other one.
He just sobs. He's like, the herder and the Skinsaw man. They came with me back from Magnamar. They horrible things to so many people. Made me watch, and as they tore and carved these stars into men and women. They and then it will continue for more. So
okay. I will not attack, but I will have Tangletooth and Scrimshaw have prepared bite attacks.
That is fine. I'm not trying to hold people back from being able to ready attacks or anything. But this does one of those things that, like, how much can you talk in 6 seconds?
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna go ahead and cast mirror images in case something else shows up.
That's fair enough. Yeah, as long as you're not doing anything.
Everything going on okay in there?
Talking now.
Okay.
Just Emanuele sad outside.
He'll observe the area and make sure no other goblin gas come crawling up.
Like, but he's just like kind of shivering and like has his like his arms crossed and he's like, they came with me from Magnamar. I went there for help. I didn't know what to do. I did something I shouldn't have done. And it's like, my poor wife. I didn't mean to do what I did to her. I just wanted to get the brothers to help me to.
Similarly, are we going to be moving into the room at all?
You can if you want. It's up to you guys. He's not stopping you guys from moving or anything at the moment. So.
Just watching fix his back.
But he talks about how he went to Magnamar. He kind of keeps jumping back and forth. He's not really sure what to say. He implies that yes, he did kill his wife in a fit of rage that he didn't know where it came from. And he didn't know what to do and hid her body away in fear of what he himself had done and didn't know where this rage came from. He speaks of this house just infested with all kinds of vermin, heading to Magnamar to seek out someone known as the Brothers of Seven to help him with the incident that happened with his wife. He speaks about it almost as like a out of body experience. He speaks of them making them pay for getting to dispose of his wife's body and what it sounds like. It sounds like, from what he knows, his wife, her body was gone. So he doesn't have any idea of her being upstairs still. He speaks of being extorted for pretty much everything he was worth from these Brothers of Seven, until the point where someone that was leading them requested he come back and retrieve some rats to deliver to them in Magnamar. And being at such dire straits, he complied, and the timeline kind of lines up. That's when he was after he had departed from Sandpoint, as he was returning to Magnamar to return these fungus infested rats to somebody there. And he's like, please, the herder, the Skinsaw one, they could be back at any time now. He like looks around nervously.
Where'd they go?
They're always here. They're always watching. I don't know.
Who took body?
The Brothers of Seven. They're vicious people. They're in Magnamar. Their leaders. And as he speaks, his tone kind of changes. And he kind of looks up at you, not with the same grin he did before, where it was all menacing. Just a smarmy grin. And he looks over at you guys will get your prepared stuff, but he looks up at Ephixa and he's like, I wonder how your death shall affect your friends. I wonder what things might go unfinished as you leave this world? What broken promises will spawn? He's like, And he like
Shoot him.
grins as he pulls across this mask that was on the side of his face, covering himself with what looks like a mask made of skin. And we're gonna jump back into initiative, and you guys can have your prepared actions.
It was a way for him to re-roll his initiative.
It really wasn't, but it just
I
happened
know.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Bam.
Ris'sh isn't fucking around though. So first up will be Ris'sh though, and all the prepared actions you have go in. I know you had the cats ready to attack. You had Ris'sh holding something.
Fix was preparing to bless her weapon if spell is allowed to be prepared.
Yeah, that's fine. Neither of those hit.
Gombo was gonna put his orders back into effect.
Yeah, so
Are they flanking at all?
Even with flanking, those wouldn't hit.
Okay, because they have +2 from me as well.
+2. Okay, so the first one would hit.
Okay. Then
Also, another thing I've been holding for the boss fight.
Dare I ask? Haste. Nice.
I did the trip. It was
And
22.
upcast.
The trip would not work.
I currently have more targets than I have people to target, so everyone in the room gets aced.
Poor Emanuele.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your held action, or that was your turn?
That was my turn.
Okay.
I didn't.
It says 42 feet.
No more than.
Oh, 30 feet apart, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna go. He is going to use a move action to feint against Scrimshaw. So 31 against, I believe it's, like I have it right here, 10 plus BAB plus wisdom. So I think that'll get passed for Scrimshaw.
Or sense motive.
Or I don't think the cat has sense motive.
Yeah, I just remember from doing feint stuff as Manfred.
So he will use his War Razor. That'll be a natural 20. And that will be a 24 to confirm.
Am I getting AC from anywhere? I don't know. I'm getting
+2 from me.
Yeah, so that's
one for haste.
+1 for haste as well. So yeah, that will miss the confirm. So it'll be 8 damage plus the sneak attack damage. So 18 points of damage.
Okay.
And that will be his turn. Next up in the order is Gogmert.
All right, I'm going to order Scrimshaw to withdraw.
Okay.
Because he's banged up. And then Gogmert's going to come in. Let's see. What is this? I'm just going to check something with my spontaneous casting really quick. Alright, what's the area? 5, 10, 15. So, who is within? Yeah. Area of effects. Can't use them.
Would probably be bad, yes.
So we will instead convert my Cure Light Wounds for level 1 into a Produce Flame. So that will be of my proper level.
Mm-hmm.
And he will move in right there.
Okay. By the way, anyone during this whole encounter, if you want to roll sense motives at the start of this initiative, I forgot to ask that if you wanted to.
No problem.
Just to get some insight to what's going on.
I'll do it on my turn. But the way Lucilla's seeing this is even if this guy's possessed or something, that revenant upstairs is not staying down forever. He's death marked. It's gonna happen.
Ephixa.
Alright, so once again she'll point the sword at him and say, "You have turned to the wicked to hide your evil deed, rather than bring it to light and seek atonement, and for that you shall be punished." Use smite against him. 5 foot step up and full attack. Let's see, so smite adds.
I think it was a charisma to hit and then level to damage.
Yeah. And then she'll power attack.
And also bonuses because he's undead.
Yeah. So she'll be power attacking, adding 5 to her AC.
Let's get plus 2 from me.
Oh, is that still active?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you readied it, so plus 2 to attack as well.
No damage, just attack.
Yep. I think AC improves as well.
And saves.
I should fiddle with it for you, but I think there's a way to make... I think I did it before. You can make a button, you can click on the buffs that adds your smite or your smite undead.
Oh, okay.
Or your... I'll see if I can make it for you. That way it'll be easy for you to calculate all this. Because you can click the power attack button, the smite button all at once.
Okay.
And it'll deduct and everything as normal.
Sounds good.
First
attack.
That will miss.
Alright, second attack with haste.
That will hit. Slashes into him for 13 points of damage.
That will be 4 additional since it's the first damage against undead.
Gotcha.
And then shield. This one.
Oof, that'll hit.
And so, not upsetting shield style, I didn't enter that fighting stance just yet.
No worries.
So, and that will be my turn.
Gotcha. Lucilla.
Alright, first things first, free sense motive. Shabam. Nope.
Buy 1 motive, get 2 free.
Alright, I'm gonna run around the table to here. And then...
Real quick, sorry. I forgot to apply guidance to that first attack. Would 26 hit?
No.
Okay.
But yes, it would.
It would? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry, I forgot to...
For some reason, I didn't hear 26. I heard something else. I don't know what.
Well, it was 25, but I forgot to add guidance to my attack roll for that first attack.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Alright. So then I am going to full defense. So it's plus 6 to my AC, bringing me up to a total of 29, that right? Yeah.
And what kind of bonus is this to AC? Is it just like a flat untyped?
Total defense is untyped.
Okay.
My Bardic is a insight.
I was just wondering because he has the fainting thing, so it removes like dex bonuses and stuff. So
yeah, no, it's untyped. It's just me fully focusing on myself on not getting hit. And it also now Gogmert and Fix gets plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
29 AC is what I'm at currently. I mean, not quite level 20 Manfred with that conditional 70 AC.
Right.
God,
Look, man,
I feel terrible.
y'all are nuts. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I can't wait till you get to the giant levels, and then you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck if you have high AC, they're just gonna smack you once.
Mm. Oh yeah, I'm a meat balloon, and I take all my actions to do this. Just like,
No, I know. I'm just talking shit.
I know.
Hey, I can't do much with my enemies. I have to talk smack somehow.
Oh yeah.
Emanuele, Cove, if you're there.
Yep. I'm sorry. Braves beat the Yankees, so I was gloating. He's going to hear the noise, start walking inside to see what is going on. That's 20 feet. Everyone's hitting this person. So he will step to his full 30 and shoot them without regard to who they are or what they were saying. Do we have bonuses going on? I heard from...
+2 from me.
+2 to attack from you. Right. So here we go. Bad shot.
Yeah, we'll miss entirely.
And then he'll call, he'll give fix cover and bonus to attack. Oh, he didn't hit, so hold on. It's been a minute. She gets... Yep, she gets a bonus to AC.
We're such a buff-heavy party.
Yeah,
It's what we went for, and
Yeah.
it's different, you know.
How much of a buff to AC?
+2.
+2.
I look forward to Michael's game when none of us are playing buffing people. Also, I don't know what the story of Curse of the Crimson Throne is, Michael, but there better not be a sympathetic undead thing like this in that one, because as a follower of Phrasma, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter how friendly the undead is. I'm supposed to kill it.
Well, with the archer joining the battle, I don't think I'll try to grease him. But I will Burning Disarm him, since he appears to have some sort of metal weapon.
I think that's a saw.
Pharasma rivals Saren Ray in the whole kill the undead thing.
Even worse,
So
because it's without
that
sympathy.
is him dropping the War Razor.
So he drops it if he passes?
Yeah, that's his choice, is to drop it or take the damage. And
Oh, he'll just take
it's
the
to make
damage
a
then.
reflex to. So 12 fire.
Okay. Yeah, he'll just take that.
Yeah,
Okay.
reflex save to drop it and take no damage.
Now to see who he wants to attack. He's interested in Ephixa, but she is walled up like crazy. Like he wouldn't know how walled up, but he's gonna multi-attack rather than feint. He's gonna attack with the War Razor against Ephixa, and he's gonna bite at her. Then he's gonna claw at Gogmert.
Get
So-
all the AC buffs from Haste and me and Bardic.
We'll miss Ephixa. Let's see. Then it will bite at Ephixa. And then claw at Gogmert.
Ah, come on.
Let's see if it confirms.
Does not confirm, but I will need you to make a fortitude save.
+2 to that save from me at least.
Alright. Fortitude +2, so 17.
Okay, that will pass. You're not paralyzed.
Whew.
And he kind of just looks around the room and he just snarls at everybody. Doesn't have anything witty to say when he can't hit worth crap.
I will say, with all of our buffs overlapping like that, I'm sure from a thematic standpoint, our teamwork looks incredible.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
Meanwhile, there's a manual back there who's like, I know what I'm doing. Why do you all not talk when you can communicate somehow?
It's complete silence on the back, except he gives out a couple of orders and therefore knows that he is the one causing all of this success.
So, as a full attack for Tangletooth, I can use his bite and his claws, right?
Yes.
All right. So first off the bite, 22. Or we're flanking, so 24 plus. Is it 2 from Lucilla?
Yeah, +2 from me.
Yep.
Okay, so 26 it would hit.
Yep.
And don't
So
forget haste as
then
well.
we will see about the trip.
Look, you guys, you already have enough buffs. Quit piling them on.
I
You're
only need to
son of a
calculate
gun.
it until I get high enough to hit. So
We'll not trip them though.
darn. So then 2 claw attacks.
I was just referring to.
I mean,
extra attack.
After We're the Wicked, we said we were purposely going to do like an extra helping group.
Oh yeah, and Lucilla's not min-max at all. Most of my feats are non-combat related, and I'm a freaking like meat balloon. If like
Or I
get-
forget when it. 2 claws means 2 attacks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, you just tear into them. All of them hit with all the bonuses.
with haste, doesn't he get an extra attack?
Yeah, if the cat was
Yeah,
hasted, you get an extra, probably a bite, another bite.
Yeah, if you want to let him, I don't think natural attacks get.
Do they not?
Oh, it was just an attack.
They get kind of funky with natural attacks. I'll just let them have it.
Yeah.
With 1 natural or manufactured weapon.
Well, there's your answer.
But is a bite really a weapon? Is it part of you? then you get into the monks and everything, and
Well, it
I
said
don't have a
natural.
problem with
Andy messes with it anyway.
it. That one will miss even with all the buffs.
Yeah.
But that's okay. He still has Gogmert to go now.
Yep. Gogmert's still got his fireball to deal out. So let's.
Yeah. If I was to
Man,
compare,
I will say, it is definitely apparent that they want you to run this with a 15-point buy.
Yep.
Because I added
And probably
like,
not
2 templates to this
27
guy.
avatars.
I mean,
I-
even without the
I-
animal companions, you guys have laid out smackdown on this guy.
If I was to give taglines to our parties, I would say Way of the Wicked was min-maxed monsters, and in this one, it's action economy team. We just
Yep.
like splitting up the initiative orders for like those gassed goblins was a good call, Richard, because there's just so much going on.
I have to split them up now. That's why I just roll for everybody now. Because if I don't, no one ever gets to go.
Yes.
It's okay. You guys will just wipe the floor, and we'll be on to the next game pretty fast.
I mean, that's how I'm gonna run these APs.
Well, gee, nice to know.
I don't feel like that. Is that
We
correct?
still rolled a natural 2, so I
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that was correct. I think that was supposed to be at least 3 more points of damage on touch, but I still don't think that hits.
that doesn't hit.
Oh, that's my turn.
Fixa.
Alright. Swift action. Fix will go into upsetting shield style, and then another full attack. So, scimitar.
Yep.
Then, what was it? Another scimitar.
Yep.
And then shield.
So describe your kill.
So, just, driven by divine fury and righteousness, would just kind of do that cross slash right across his chest, leaving glowing wounds in the process, and then finish off by slamming her buckler right in his face and kind of crushing it against the wall.
Yep. You slam against the wall. His head reels back. Skull hitting the back of the cave. The mask falling to the side. As you see his lifeless, now unlifeless, I guess. I don't know how really we say that. Light of his eyes just leave him as he kind of just stares at you, like looking at you, like concerned of his own being as well as like just around him, what's going on, and then it just fades.
I'm gonna go with re-lifeless for undead dying again.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And I'm glad I didn't put combat music on that because he didn't do shit.
That is always the problem of one enemy encounters, especially given we're 5 players and the normal's
Yeah,
4.
they don't.
And
At least from what I've
Paladin.
looked at Curse of the Crimson Throne, there aren't a whole lot of one enemy encounters in that one. Just to warn you guys.
I will suggest though, after maybe after Curse, since we already built our characters, we might want to consider doing 15-point buy unless we want to really soup up the enemies. Because with 5 people, it gets really out of control.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm adding like
is it
plus
easy
3.
to double the enemies?
Not
2
not
of
all of
everyone?
them. Like not in this like it wouldn't make sense for this guy. I add more monsters depending on the area. Like there's like way more ghouls in this than there was originally.
Boss fights are always terrible.
Yeah, I probably should have summoned the
That's
fiendish snake back with the ghouls, but I wanted to save it for the boss fight, and then the boss fight was in this tiny closet that's 30 feet
It's
across.
9 against 1. What
I
are you
think
gonna
they get-
do?
I think they get better about that as the APs get on, that they stop having closet fights.
Yeah.
Because it's not a spoiler to say that in Skull and Shackles, one of the big boss fights is on the deck of a ship.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's a spoiler to let you know that.
What I am considering, since I'll kind of broach the subject here, is I'm thinking about giving single bosses like a pseudo like legendary action where it's literally just an extra turn where they can use one single standard action from a list.
I'm good with that.
That way,
I
at least
think-
gives a single boss fight like this some semblance of being able to do something.
Yeah. I
is.
really like legendary actions from this edition.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
one of the
absolutely
better
on
ideas.
board with it. Not sure how it works, but anything you want to do to make it harder.
Basically, the second action just wouldn't be able to cast like spells, but it would be able to make physical attacks or like take a move action or something.
Maybe a
But anyway.
trip if they didn't suck.
Yeah, we have been having a whole lot of boss fights in some broom closets.
Yeah, because I'll let you guys know this. If that blue ghost did not have legendary actions, you guys would have absolutely pulverized it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been like Apex Predator and it's dead.
Yep.
Yeah, especially if it's a boss that's supposed to maybe stay alive for a while. Give it just a automatic get out of jail free card, you know.
Maybe give it some villain points.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that's
This is my first time doing a Pathfinder AP. I was kind of curious how things go, but now by book 2, it's only going to get more wonky.
Yeah, well, you're also doing it against, a team who was like, we made excellent evil villains who are the most powerful people in the world. Now we're going to make the best teammates ever.
Yep.
The one thing to consider is, we have a bit more breathing room now that we're higher level, because the boss fight for the first book was fucking painful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, in
How
Curse of the
quickly
Crimson
we
Throne,
forget.
I'm looking at one of the boss fights, and I think you guys are gonna have some trouble.
Yeah, how quickly we forget that we've already lost one team member.
I will
Almost
say
TPK'd on the second time and had to let that boss leave.
And I will say, this isn't even the final boss of book 2.
Yeah.
And the final boss of book 2 in this is considered the most TPK of any AP.
Oh shit.
I will warn you that now.
Hell yeah. Well, then
They are
to learn our
the one
lesson
that's
to go
most
in with
known
some
for
tactics.
TPKing people. Like,
Yes.
maybe it's because Runelords have been played more than any other AP.
Yeah.
But I will warn you that this is going to be a deadly one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are we still? Is the house done yet?
I will
Nope.
say, even with action economying him down, Gogmert there and his pet are at half and below.
Yeah.
Here, I'll
Yeah, Gogurt, you may want to start backing off.
sliding into
Go.
character. I will cure light wounds him one. That'll be 6 hit points. You get back, Gogmert.
But yeah, you do, while you're healing up, this room itself is very peculiar, to say the least. Go ahead and give me perceptions, everybody.
I don't need a perception to see that the walls are closing in.
29.
Okay. So, looking around, apparently Manuel wanted to look twice.
Yeah, everything's going blue. I gotta reload.
No worries. But yeah, as you're looking around, a lot of these objects on this table, at least, look fairly mundane. There looks like to be empty potion bottles. What looks like a half-broken comb. Just miscellaneous things. But then, it would be Lucilla that you're the one that notices just because your comments about it. You see a lock of hair. It looks a lot like Ephixia's hair.
I tap Fix and I point to it.
Yeah, when she shows you that, you're starting to take notice of the things on the table. There's your lock of hair, but there's also you swear the potion bottle looks like ones you've used before. You're not sure if it's the exact same one, but it looks similar. There are what looks to be like the comb looks like a comb you've used in the past that you couldn't find. You see torn up pieces of a shirt that went missing a couple weeks ago. It seems like this guy has been following you around for a bit.
So this is all your stuff?
Yeah, just small objects of nonsensical.
Wait. Did this
And
happen
then
before?
then you see a stack, but then you also see a stack of parchment. And the term fan art gets thrown out a lot.
Oh, God.
And the words Rule 34 gets thrown out a lot. But it looks like he's taking his own personal liberties when it comes to Ephixa.
Fix would hastily grab that and just kind of shove it aside, out of sight, and with a mental note of, I will burn this later.
You definitely see Emanuele blush as he saw a glimpse of those pictures and didn't understand what was happening.
Fix is blushing brightly.
Yeah, as you're shoveling these papers into your bag, you do notice that there's one letter that is unopened that is addressed to Aldern, and it's addressed to a Magnamar address.
As Fix is shoveling the papers, and I'm like, well, the content is a bit self-indulgent, but you have to admit the line work is impressive.
Just beat red at this point.
To break that topic and address something important, Ris'sh will butt in, is something wrong with that fungus there? When came in, tried to make me eat it, something did.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm not saying anything close to it. Stuff gives me the heebies.
Detecting magic on anything.
There's that.
Does not detect. You do detect a few things of magic in this room. So on the man himself, you do find a few things. You find a mask, a ring, and no, just a mask and a ring. You can roll spellcraft on those if you'd like. But in addition, you also, near the fungus, right at the foot of it, this kind of overgrown part of it, you also see a blip of magic there too.
Is that the broken puzzle box you mentioned before?
It is not directed at the puzzle box. It's something underneath the fungus.
And a passive 26 on spellcraft. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, the mask is known as a stalker's mask.
That sounds about right.
And the ring is a ring of jumping. So,
oh wow, you could be
the stalker's mask.
Could be great serial killers with this.
Yeah, bonus to stealth. You can use it to take on the appearance of any creature of the wearer's basic size and shape within 60 feet that you observe, allowing the wearer to adopt the creature's appearance for an hour, plus 10 to disguise, and you also get a +1 on attack and weapon damage rolls against the creature you're disguised as. He did not, however, disguise himself during this combat.
Not sure I like the implications of him owning this, but...
It's definitely fitting with all my stuff.
Yeah. You think he might have used this to, spy on you and then go into places dressed looking as you and just take your things.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Also, it is a mask made of human skin, so
Oh,
keep that in mind.
This is just
I
getting.
think it can't get any worse.
Once again, I just have to say this out of character. Oozemorph would be like, yeah, that's a great mask. I don't have skin. I could use that.
Hey,
This is,
hey, you gonna use that skin?
Could you just imagine that though, where it's like, is that slime exterior really your face? No, but I do have actual human skin underneath it, and just like reaches up with fingers and brushes the skin to the side. The most objectively horrifying thing you've seen.
So,
Well, on the
blip
plus side, he's dead.
Anyways, if you guys are too uncomfortable to use it,
so the blip of magic on the floor. Try and investigate without touching any of the mold. Because if it wanted me to eat it, that
Mage hand?
Don't need it.
Still didn't memorize it for today.
I'm just saying, like, he wouldn't have any qualms using it, and he is a goblin.
Yeah, the fungus that it's kind of covering it is just about south of this big patch, and you're able to like go over there and you kind of like reach over with your foot and like kick it, and it just folds sideways. It looks like to be some kind of chime,
like
almost like a wind chime looking thing. You can roll a spellcraft if you like.
Again, passive 26 if I take a 10.
And that's fine. It is a chime of opening with 5 charges. Remember, Lucilla, when you had that flashback of the woman finding out her husband was becoming a lich and everything and sneaking her way down? You kind of remember back that that she had used a magical object to break through the wards that were blocking. This is actually a very helpful magical item.
Oh yeah.
It only has 5 charges, but when you need to get through a door. And the wall itself, the more you guys kind of stay in this room, the more you look at it, you swear the face, like the body, like looks like it's like turns. It almost looks like there's a body turning towards you underneath the fungus, and you begin to hear slow whispers like, "No, he was my escape."
Definitely something wrong with fungus.
Can we burn it?
Roll a religion.
Fungus tend to be moist, yes. Not burn well, I would think.
You do not know.
Let me reroll that with my hero point.
14.
There we go.
So you do know that, like, looking at this, you think fire, acid, or some holy water might be able to stifle it, but it definitely won't get rid of it. You need a very concentrated effect on this wall, something similar to like a hallow, consecrate, or dispel evil. But it definitely seems like this, like with that religion, this is definitely the source of the haunts. Like looking back to all the stuff that happened in the manor, all the growth into liches, the growth into becoming a lich, the flashbacks, everything led back to the great-grandfather of the Foxglove family. It seems to be somehow he was trying to become a lich and failed, and in doing so has imbued himself into the manor itself. And the most concentrated point of that is here where he had failed his attempt. I am the Lichen King.
There's a typo in the recipe.
I've shown you the one that it's a wizard looking at a scroll and in little summoning circles of lemon. And the thing is, the spell's in cursive, so if you look at it quickly, it says how to summon a demon. Instead, it's how to summon a lemon.
It's a shame this happened to him too. Who used to be such a fun guy.
If you guys see the thing I posted, if
Yep.
you anything know about, wow.
I do.
That's an actual mob that can just appear in one of the zones.
Mm. Believe me.
And
with the
he even yells, Fungalmorn hungers.
Oh my god, I love him so much. Learned so many things about things for another dark campaign. So anyway, we hosing this down with holy water, or
For the time being, maybe to help out, but I think it'll take something more potent to do that, to get rid of it. But that is definitely on the to-do list once I find a means.
I just flop down my backpack, reach in. You hear just random objects clanking around in there that sound like they're too big to fit in the halfling's backpack, and I pull out a flask of holy water and I pass it to you. That's me using my ability again.
All right.
I love that.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Couple that with the feet that lets you just pull out random mundane objects. You just have everything for every occasion.
That's what I'm planning on doing. It's just gonna slowly turn it, because there's even a halfling feat if I invest in sleight of hand that lets you do a sleight of hand check and produce a mundane object if its gold value is equal to or less than your sleight of hand check roll.
I just worried that this campaign was too fast for you to really take advantage of it at low levels.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But
Somebody will do it again.
I'm gonna be doing this, and it's gonna be great because I'm just gonna be, whenever you need an item, I'm like, yeah, I packed that.
Fix will go ahead and kind of utter a prayer and kind of do a lengthy, almost ritual of sorts to Saren Ray to help cleanse the place while, sprinkling holy water on the fungal concentration.
Okay. Yeah, you say a prayer and you spray it on it, and you see the fungus begin to sizzle and dissolve, and it does dissolve and seems to go away. But you see, ever so slowly, the fungus already beginning to regrow. In game terms, it takes about 24 hours for it to regrow and take full effect. But while it's gone now, there are going to be no haunts in the mansion until it regrows.
You have to definitely come back and do something more potent, but this will hold for a little while.
Before we go on, unless you have something to do real quick, it is flashback time.
Actually, I did have one thing I wanted to ask for quick, Richard.
Okay.
Is that shattered container on the ground? Was that the same thing that I saw in the flashback that you was using as its phylactery?
Yes.
I would like to point out that on the map it is in fact a four-sided box.
Got it.
And that's not ever going to be let go.
You don't know. It could be a little toy house and slope up to a point.
And before you jump into the flashback, you said that there's writing on one of the parchments among the smut that
Yes.
Alright, Fix will fish that out and be careful not to. She would check it for any sort of doodles or sketches. If it's clean, she would set
You're
that
safe.
apart.
It looks like to be a letter.
Alright.
And I will just click show to players because it's easier.
It's not. Oh. I was like, that's not easier. That's terrible writing. I can't read a damn thing. Okay.
Scroll down.
Yes. Now I see.
I did that on purpose because it is kind of hard to read.
You're a
Yeah,
crap.
whenever I give you guys handouts in games, I'll always have the contents written out.
Yeah, that's what I started doing as well.
But it's nice to have the flavor.
Yeah.
Better.
You guys remember back in Dark Heresy, the data slates I used to make for you? I liked doing that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Anyway, flashback time.
Unless anyone wants to do anything with the letter, we'll go ahead and go into a flashback. Going once.
Y'all already read that already?
I'm in the process of it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're still reading. That makes me feel better.
So we're going to flashback into a time in a swamp. Kenneth, I'm going to send you these things that you'll basically wait for the pauses as I speak, and you can add these and whatever flair you want.
Mm-hmm.
I have them lettered and stuff. For now, though, as the scene plays, like Ris'sh, you like focus on this fungus, basically turning to dust from underneath the holy water, and it flashes to a young Ris'sh. I can't imagine Ris'sh was a very rambunctious hatchling. How would you describe young Ris'sh?
Very curious about things. Not quite to Scriff levels of curiosity, but very eager for knowledge, and especially when it came to her training. She'd actually probably get in more trouble by using the magic in ways she hadn't yet been instructed to.
So yeah, as like the scene flashes from the ash into another little bit of ash that's being kind of swirled with like and turning into a paste in a scaled hand. You see a claw come up and wipe a design on Ris'sh's forehead. An old Lizardfolk man. Even with being a lizard, they don't really hunch over as much as like a human of advanced age would. But just the wear on the scales, the way it carries himself, all show signs of advanced age. Ris'sh, I imagine,
It's
is
Ash.
Ashy. I imagine Ris'sh is doing that thing where while the going through the motions of this ritual of training, you can't help but kind of like practice the new funny it is mage hand maneuver that you learned way back. And you kind of just like trying to scoot things in the swamp as the man kind of like chides you a bit. I believe you said that what Ulsha is how it's pronounced. Is that what it was?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Ulsha, listen. You must repeat. No. I start, you continue. And he holds your hand still so you can't try to like focus on the magic and everything. And he like closes his eyes like, when Mother's Claw cuts down the mountain.
A star scale revelation shall not be doubted.
Warm blood spoils when death chases death.
The rot will spread with snake's tail and lair's breath.
From the obelisk will come the signs foretold.
Nightmares return from the lake for all to behold.
Ashen claw and leathered wings lead to lands untread.
The final sign depends upon the 7 heads, yes?
Yes, this was told to me, and I've told to every young spawnling that I have taught. These words have been passed down from generation to generation. I know not what they mean, though they are supposed to lead us to a bright and promising future.
He's confusing.
Yes, he's like, I, in my time, did not find anything related to anything here. I dare to say the ancestors were playing a trick. What could we do better than to progress and he describes life in the swamp as being basically the perfect life for the tribe. Emphasizing the making the tribe stronger and making it like unified where it is. I'm trying to think of how to word it, but yeah. Basically, structure and tradition is key. And even though you're going to be soon tasked with exploring the world yourself, the tribe comes first.
Yes. It's important.
And he's like, I see your eyes wander during lessons. You are a curious sort, no?
Yes, master.
I learn a saying from the humans. Curiosity killed the snake.
Hmm.
And it basically fades off again, unless you want to add anything to it.
Just that, she then thought, like, well, I also find neat things and good fruit when I go looking.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time wording things properly for what I'm trying to say. It's basically don't get too curious for your own good is what he's trying to say.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the meaning of that little phrase.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not good at doing certain things like that. Trying to play an old wizened character is not my forte.
Yeah, well, is the thing.
I enjoy the old wizened character that you slowly realize is actually just batshit insane. So then all the wise sounding stuff I say doesn't actually have to make sense.
That's gonna be when we played the third AP, the one where we're all at this, the one Kenneth was talking about doing.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to play a cleric of Grotus, so expect craziness.
I will never get tired of the story of when you guys met Caliber. How Fergus snuck in there, surprised him, got turned into a toad, and then Nulgrim entered, and he calmly turns around and he's all like, I've been expecting you for some time.
Sit a while and listen.
Yup.
But the scene kind of fades out from there back to the reality as you just kind of fast forwarded a little bit. You do put the fungus to rest for at least a day as you make your way out of the manor. The manor itself is very quiet compared to what you are. A lot of the creepy creaking and stuff is lessened to a degree. And you're able to find a peaceful exit with no more crows assaulting you.
Fix would turn to Gogmert and say, it might be safe to burn it now if you want to give it a shot.
Please, try it.
Yeah.
Whoa, holy shit, where'd that voice come from?
You may test that assumption at your leisure.
Gogmert had a encounter when he came through the wall, didn't he?
But we'll go ahead and end it there for next time.